have Walter Day and this Walter Day collection trading card presentation tonight. I'm going to be giving out some awards and new trading cards. From there, we're going to go into our tournament winners for the final round of Gamer of the Year. Once that takes place, then we're going to crown our first Gamer of the Years. We have an adult league and a kids league. We'll take a brief intermission, and then from there, what you're all here for, really, the International Video Game Hall of Fame Class of 2016.
Woo! I just unplugged it to take it off the screen when I plugged it back in and never came back
so at this time, ladies and gentlemen, Marcus Penn.
Hello, thanks for coming out tonight. It's a big night, it's been a big day, a lot of fun. One thing I would like to share with you, I am a veteran of the United States Air Force, and I'm proud of that. And one of the things I was most proud of in my short career, I belonged to a group and we received a Humanitarian Service Award along with the Outstanding Unit Service Award. We helped preserve and protect the life of 30,000 Kurdish refugees and brought them to the United States to take away from tyranny and oppression.
It shouldn't.
And one of the things I'm really proud of,
that has audio on it.
To be on this committee for the video game capital of the world and be a part of this, the Video Game Hall of Fame. But once again, I can say I'm proud of being a member of an outstanding unit, and I'm very grateful for that. These people that have put this together today, the sacrifice and the time and effort they put on this to move this forward and make this just a great and memorable event and bring us all together. You can't say enough about them. And I know they're all over in here. And I can name a few, but
it's a blinking lamp. I don't know.
I'd like to just say thank you to them all and give them a big hand. I can't be more excited about an arcade coming back to Ottumwa, Iowa. When I was a kid, it was my safe haven. I could walk in there and it didn't matter who was in there, I was accepted. I was part of a community, part of a group. It didn't matter, someone was better at a game than me. They helped me, they showed me how to get better.
I don't know.
My mom was dropping me off there, it was like my babysitter. But you were safe when you were there, you had a place to go. And that's going to be coming back to Ottumwa thanks to a couple of fine gentlemen, Jerry Byram and Jason back there. So give them a round of applause. The other thing I'd like to say is I love the one thing about it. It's not about video games. It's about having that camaraderie and having a place you can go and feel like you belong. You know, feel like you're part of something. The history involved is very rich, and it's here today. Take time, meet some of these guys that have paved the way for us. Listen to their stories, they're great. Some of them are hilarious. Take advantage of that. This is a wonderful event, and I can't say enough about it.
We're going to have to get the other one.
One of the reasons this video game capital of the world got kicked off was our former Ottumwa mayor, Jerry Parker. He named it the video game capital of the world. He had the foresight to do that. Thank you, Jerry. And guess what? 35 years later, it's the video game capital of the world. Pretty cool, huh?
Isn't even on.
Another person too, Walter Day. Walter. Who else could take the time to keep all this information and keep it in a safe haven and make sure it was all protected? God bless you, Walter. That's a heck of a task.
Yeah, but it's so far. It appears to be coming virtual.
I just can't remember the last time I had this much fun.
Straight out.
So make sure you guys take advantage of it. Have a good night. We're here till 11 o'clock. Enjoy it, okay? Right now I'd like to bring Jerry Parker up here so he can speak to you. And let's give him a warm welcome.
You need to be this far back.
First, I'd like to welcome everybody. I think this is a real neat activity, and we can't pat the people on the back enough that put this together. It wasn't just for them. This is for the city of Ottumwa and for Wapello County, and they're really helping us develop an image Now, I'm partly to blame, as you heard a while ago, for this happening, in that 35 years ago, before a lot of you were even born, I declared Ottumwa the video game capital of the world, and the governor came down and put his stamp of approval on it. I didn't do that by myself. I got a lot of encouragement from a guy, let me see, what was it? Oh, Walter Day. I said, but Walter, you're not in elected office, you know, they can remove me. And the reason I would bring that up is because back then, it was not a popular thing to do. There were cities in the United States that were trying to outlaw arcades. Bad place for your kids to be hanging out. They didn't have the foresight to know that it's a real good family activity. You can sit down and play video games with your kids. Now, I never did think when I did that 35 years later, I would get to stand here. I'm still in office. I'm not the mayor anymore, but I'm still in elected office, and be able to say, welcome to the video game capital of the world. Sometimes you'll find out in life that some of the decisions you have to make, you might question. But I've got a real easy philosophy, and it came from Davy Crockett. And Davy Crockett said, be sure you're right, then go ahead. And when I declared this the video game capital of the world, Walter and I knew that was the right thing to do. And I am really proud that today these younger fellows asked me to be here and to welcome you folks. And I thank you for that opportunity. I'll turn it back to Bill now.
First off, before I introduce our next speaker, I would like to thank everybody here tonight. Being an original gamer, when Twin Galaxies first opened its doors, and I was a little kid tugging on all these guys' families, teach me how to play this, teach me how to play this, I really am honored to be in the presence of video game greatness, video game royalty. These guys were my heroes growing up. Walter was my hero. I can't even explain the feeling I have to have these guys around and to this day. So the next person I would like to introduce is Mayor Tom Lazio. I want to give a little background information. When we started this committee a year ago, Mayor Parker, back in the day, made this video game capital of the world in 1982. Between all that, there were a lot of people who were afraid to make some decisions. We're afraid to make some decisions, you know, especially regarding what we were doing. We had a meeting with Mayor Lazio, who, by the way, is the best mayor. He's a good friend, and he's very supportive. Not only was he very supportive of us, he got us resources, he helped us lead the way, he took us serious, and he is great in this community. He does stuff for the community, he's out in the community, and he just got reelected to a 4-year term, so we get Tom for 4 more years. Give him a round. So before I get him up here, I would like to personally thank you, Tom, for everything you've done for us. So, without further ado, it's my honor to introduce the mayor of the city of Ottumwa, Mayor Tom Lazio.
Well, good evening, and thank you very much for that very kind and warm introduction. I really appreciate the chance to be here tonight because I do recall when Mayor Parker was in office, in 1982, we had the celebration of the Twin Galaxies, and we had a run down Main Street. And it was in the wintertime, and my son carried the torch at that time to light the Olympic torch for the Video Game Hall of Fame. So I have some fond memories, and to this day, Joe still enjoys some of the games. First of all, I want to welcome all the gamers from out of town who made the effort to get here. We appreciate your coming to Ottumwa. We think we have a great community, and it's getting better all the time. And I can't say enough about the people who have really organized this. I too will not go into naming people because I'm sure I'll overlook somebody, but I think the fact that you know, you have people who really want to push this and make this the video capital of the world. We do have some great things coming up, and I think you're going to see some real development and a permanent home. And certainly I want to thank Jerry for his work on this effort downtown and here in the mall this weekend. So thank you, and we hope you've had a great stay. We want you to come back, and this will get bigger and better every year. Thank you very much.
One more time for Mayor Lazio. So this time we're going to turn the floor over to the man in stripes. Y'all know him as Mr. Walter Day. I believe he has some new trading cards he's going to be unveiling, as well as some trading card awards. So we're going to turn the floor over to the man in stripes, Walter Day.
It's kind of funny as I prepared for this, and as we did our Life magazine photo reunions today, to celebrate, I went into that nice little ice cream parlor there, and I had a big bunch of ice cream, which I haven't had in years. So I'm going to be doing this tonight with a little bit of a stomach ache, which adds a fun, interesting color to the whole proceedings. But my name's Walter Day, for those of you who haven't met me, and I was there at the beginning of Twin Galaxies. I guess I started Twin Galaxies with John David Block, who's in Agawam, Massachusetts, and he would probably like to be here tonight but couldn't. And it's a very interesting long tradition. It's a long path that led from 1981, November 10th, 36 years ago, yesterday, to where we are today. And I was being interviewed by a reporter earlier today. We had a very interesting talk, which was mainly focused on the fact that Twin Galaxies, in the news 2 weeks ago, the New York Yankees invested the word heavily was into Twin Galaxies, because the New York Yankees and many sports teams want to get involved in what they call esports now, which is just a new expression for organized video game playing. And the New York Yankees are smart, they're wealthy, they're powerful, and they're a well-tuned organization. And when they decided to get into esports, it's so rewarding to me, and I guess to all of us, that it was the Twin Galaxies organization that they chose as their vehicle for the entry into esports. So let's hear from the New York Yankees. The amazing tradition of organized video game playing is what we try to focus on when we make these trading cards. And you probably know, we're up to trading card number like 2,815, something like that. So we've been doing it for like 8 years, 7 years actually. And we have these award ceremonies irregularly. But I think that the one that's going to happen here from now on in the tumble will become like the anchor, the flagship. Because this is a very rewarding experience to me, and for anybody else who has come, because you've come to the video game capital of the world. This is the video game capital of the world. This is the place where it all started, and this is the place that's being recognized by more and more people. It's the birthplace of organized competitive esports. Some people argue that as an issue, but I'm pretty sure it's going to turn out to be true, and that's how the tumble will be viewed, as the historic birthplace of organized esports. But it always started with competitive video game players. Competitive video game players who put high scores on the map. So to start the trading card presentations, I'd like to invite 2 high scorers to come up, okay? And this is the prize to them. Lonnie, could you come up here? Lonnie McDonald has been on one of the most unique odysseys. He's played most of the known joust machines in creation, to the point where he turned the score count over at 9,199,990 points. Did I say that right? And the other person who's going to be completely surprised by me calling up here is none other than the amazing Jay Woodard. So these guys are representative of people who have taken golden age games and just dominated them and achieved world records. So I'm going to give a trading card award to, what's it, you, Lonnie? No, you're Lonnie. Okay. You're Jay Willard, and you guys say something, because I want these guys to do more talking than I do.
It was a wonderful experience coming down here 33 years ago and playing at Twin Galaxies. Being at the birthplace where this all began is a great honor to have. I thank Walter for giving me my card, and I hope everybody has a great time. Thank you.
This specific card, I believe, is for the 150th machine that I played to over 10 million points, which we did at the National Video Game Museum in Frisco, Texas. I've also been to every single state and played at least one joust machine to 10 million points. It's a sickness, guys. No, but it's fun. I've met a lot of really cool people. I get to hang out with people like Walter and Billy, Todd Rogers, and Triforce, and all sorts of cool people, and get to see everybody's collections too. So I feel very rewarded.
Really, they're representative of lots and lots of people we can call up at this point in time. A lot of those people already got their trading cards and passports. So we're going to move on to the next generation, because when a lot of these people started playing here at Twin Galaxies years ago, they were young kids. And that's a cycle. It repeats itself again and again and again. So here is the next generation of superstars, the future superstars of the world, who are actually coming out of the Ottumwa locality here. So Isabel, get up here, and Caleb, get up here, and Brandon, get up here. These guys are serious contenders in the contests that are being held here. Now you're Caleb, right? No? Oh, you're Isabel. Okay, you're Caleb. You're Isabel. Where's Brandon? So you guys stand over here and proudly hold your thing up so everybody can get a photograph of you. Where's Brandon? Brandon? Brandon. So Brandon's coming. So, and that's the way it works. It seems that the youngsters get involved in organized gaming. And they're the ones who lead the way. They're the ones who create the new world records. They're the ones who figure out how to solve the games, because it's amazing how young and smart and clever some of these young kids are when they figure out secret tricks and secret strategies that their older gamers can't figure out. So it's incredible. It's incredibly important to honor the future superstars of gaming. Isabel, Caleb, and Brandon's skipping this right here. Come on, Brandon, skip on up here. Here he is, he's actually skipping. Okay. Okay, this, ladies and gentlemen, is Brandon Bertlow, Isabella Hoffman, and Caleb Bertlow. Everyone wants to photograph you. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Okay. Do you want to sit down? Or do you want to stay here? Okay. So Billy, get on up here. Is everybody with Billy? Everybody see me? Okay. I want Billy to be up here where we introduce these next people. Todd, are we at the Crossroads one now? Is that where we're at?
Yep, sorry, hold on. This thing's not working right. Give me one. We're at the Crossroads, hold on, sorry. No, I got it. Sorry, guys. Nope. It's not working.
Oh, who are these?
Let's just take a second. Okay. Triforce. Triforce, bring your entire group up here. Yes, the entire group. All 200 of them. No, that's gonna, Billy says it's gonna empty out the audience. So all you guys get up here. You all have to get up here.
Somebody hold this. Just hold it.
Okay, what he's looking for is he's looking for, he'll find it, the front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer. The front page of the Sunday Philadelphia Inquirer for November 21st, 1982. In other words, 10 days from today, it'll be 35 years ago, that one night someone knocked on the door of Twin Galaxies Arcade at like 11:30 at night, and it was a reporter from the Philadelphia Inquirer. He had been sent here to Ottumwa. Now this is like a week or two before Jerry even proclaimed us the video game capital of the world. A reporter from the Sunday Philadelphia Inquirer knocked on the door. I went and opened it up because I was working late. And he had been sent there by his editor back in Philadelphia to come to Ottumwa to find out why Ottumwa was the crossroads of the video game world, why it was viewed as the mecca amongst video game players everywhere. So he came to do the story. So he interviewed me, he did the story, and it ended up being a front page headline story on the front page of the Sunday Philadelphia Inquirer. And the story he got out of it was that Ottumwa was the crossroads. And that's why all these gentlemen are here. Because they know their history. They're at the crossroads. This is the Mecca. This is the spiritual and like historical crossroads of organized competitive video game playing. That's why they're here. To not only recognize their history, but to become a part of the history, because everybody knows that history goes in cycles. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the Empire Arcadia team, based from all different locations all over North America, and including Triforce from Jamaica. And Triforce, why don't you be the spokesperson and come and say something? I'll be handing out the awards.
Thank you, thank you everybody in Ottumwa. So, 36 years ago, for Twin Galaxies, Walter inspired gamers around the world and gamers also here in Ottumwa to play video games at a competitive level and master them to the point where it was a sport. And when he built that infrastructure to make, Twin Galaxies the vehicle to turn competitive video games into a sport, it inspired yet another our next generation afterwards. So just as Walter inspired those and helped foster guys such as hometown heroes like Tim McVeigh in the back, other guys like Dennis, Markoff, Bill Hoffman, and many other Ottumwa's locals and people from outside, from the Ben Goals and Steve Sanders and Billy Mitchell and so forth. That generation then inspired me, and that helped me form my team in 2000, Empire Arcadia. And just as Walter has done for those guys, now I do for this generation. And after them, they will inspire another generation and another. And the entire point of this is to understand where the origins of esports comes from. Not the one that's really popped up just recently commercially. We appreciate the, evolution of, what this gentleman here, Walter Day, laid down. But we want to talk about the actual origin. And Ottumwa, Iowa is the video game capital of the world. And this generation, this esports team is going to do everything it can in its power to at least preserve that history and move it forward. Thank you guys for having us in Ottumwa. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And they travel at great expense to come here from all sorts of different places. What is it?
Hello, good afternoon everyone, or good evening. Thanks, Billy. So as we're all here today, video gaming is a thriving culture in the 21st century. And a lot of us understand, I mean, even as kids growing up, I played Game Boy Advance, but a lot of us understand, like, beyond the flashing lights, beyond the high scores, there's an intrinsic and fundamental value that we all share, and it comes from the communities we build and the experiences we get to have. I mean, me personally, being here at Empire Arcadia, it's been a dream. It's been a blast. I'd like to give another round of applause to Empire Arcadia for being here. We come from all places of the world. Can we give each other a big round of applause? And there are some members from Empire Arcadia that aren't here today. And just like there are gamers around the world who aren't here today. One quick response to them is to keep playing, to keep loving, and doing the things that you love. That's why we're here today. Thank you.
He's a new guy.
You want to go back to the other one?
You want to go back? Okay. Okay. So, Mary Gaskell, were you aware that we're going to call you up here?
Oh no.
She'll be back.
Is Mary back? Are you here, Mary?
She'll be right back, Walter.
Buddy?
Mary will be right back.
Okay. All right. So these three folks are being honored for their incredible contributions. Mary has contributed. Mary, who's the state senator, maybe many of you know her, Mary Gaskell. She's not here right this moment, but she's been a member of the board of directors of the International Video Hall of Fame. We're honoring her on the card, honoring Roger Jones, who's not here, he's in Topeka, Kansas right now on the card, and David Bishop, who's on the International Video Hall of Fame board, also who's not here, he's in Florida, who just moved recently, got a new job. So we have cards for them. We're going to honor them. Let's hear for them because they've devoted a lot of time to making the Hall of Fame a real reality. So thank you very much. But now, Jerry, Byron, can you come up here for a second? Yeah, come on up here. And now, where's Billy Hoffman? Come on up here. Billy Hoffman. Okay, get Billy Hoffman. And is there someone named Terry Bertlow connected to this too? So Terry, where's Terry Bertlow? Okay, Terry, get up here.
This is a very interesting moment because Walter has a surprise for these gentlemen who have worked so hard to put this together here. They've worked hard and put things together that we're not even aware of. So he has this surprise award that he can't even find. When I look in the back room and I see him running out right now, and he has it. I have more to say about Walter when I get here.
Okay, so you guys, you know that they're starting a historical museum. It's already up and running. They're really bringing a rebirth to the Hall of Fame, a rebirth to the, or they're inspiring the rebirth of the Hall of Fame. They're inspiring the rebirth of the historic birthplace that organized these sports in the video game capital of the world. And they're devoting a lot of time and effort and energy, just like Mary and Roger and David have done to the Hall of Fame. So in this spirit, I wanted to give their museum a special set of new gifts that they weren't expecting. All this stuff, copies of this are in the possession, of course, Twin Galaxies archives, but these are my own personal copies that I'm now officially giving to the Hall of Fame, to the Autumnal Hall of Autumnal Museum. What do you guys call it? Okay, here is the one in the middle. I'm giving them my copy, the November 28, 1981 edition of Atomic Courier. I'm giving this as a gift to the museum, okay? I'm giving them the story of Tony Matton's high score attempt on February, whatever it is, in 1982, that led to the creation of the scoreboard, and that's the newspaper on the far right, giving this to the museum. And this is the great, it's the one on the far left. It shows the big full page, front page thing, picture of when the Atomic Courier reproduced the Life magazine photograph that had just come out like a day or two before that. So I'm giving them my copy of that also for the museum, okay? And I'm giving them the copy of when Replay magazine did a story. This is the magazine, when Replay magazine did the story on the governor of Iowa, Terry Branstad, coming to Ottumwa, and as Jerry Parker said, putting the seal of approval on his proclamation that Ottumwa was indeed the video game capital of the world. So this is a special personal gift to all these folks.
I just want to say that this is definitely one of the holy grails of magazines in the video game world. So we're definitely honored to have this in the museum and properly showcase it for generations to come and enjoy this.
For these guys. And before they leave the stage, just because there may not be any other moment in the rest of the weekend that we actually have them in front of us, and we're all as a group, so let's thank them for this amazing gift.
Typically, I would not be at a loss for words, but today I'm going to leave it to the professionals. However, I am going to hold this up, and I'm going to tell you that I'm really glad that Life magazine decided to come here and do a photo shoot with these folks. And I'm also very glad that they trumped no dancing in Moulton. So go video games.
Hey, I do want to say one quick thing. I want to say thanks to Walter for these great pieces, but also I want one more round because I want to thank Walter for a lifetime of fun when I was young and we were all young. And to speak for everyone, a year ago, we never thought this would happen. This started on a Facebook page, and we were going to have dinner. And I helped put together a group of people who some of them I didn't even know, who I consider family. I consider family and brothers and sisters now. And I couldn't let them out. It's the best team I have ever had the privilege of being on. And I want a loud, good round for Terry, Jenny, Michael, Katie, Dennis, Jerry, everyone on the committee. They work so hard, and like I said, I can't tell you how honored I am to Marcus, everyone, to be part, Julie, to be part of this team. I can't even say more. I love these guys like they're my family. I've known Jerry since we were kids, and these guys are not only friends now, they're my family, and I love each and every one of you. So.
So Mary is a member of the board for the International Video Hall of Fame. She's one of the smarter members on the board. And she's also a state representative. And so she has one foot in this unusual world of promoting Ottumwa as the video capital of the world, and the other one is kind of like the hard knock reality of Iowa politics and stuff like that. So she has been an incredible. She's our protector, and she's giving us a lot of divine guidance in a sense, helping us work our way in whatever direction is possible to make what we do here and what we believe in doing here become a reality, which will benefit not only the global video game industry, but especially Iowa, the state of Iowa. So this could become a serious, genuine destination, tourist destination. Because the video game industry is the biggest industry there is just about as far as entertainment, everything, music, movies, and sports now. So why shouldn't there be Mecca, cross-reference? So she's helping us bring the whole thing in that direction. And that's one of the reasons, or many reasons, why we have her on her own trading card now. So let's hear it from Mary.
Yeah, I want to thank you all, and I particularly want to thank the gentlemen, and their names is Jerry and all those guys for this, putting this together. This is really great. Thank you so much.
We have an award for Ryan Berger, but he's not here at this moment, so we'll wait until he comes back and we'll get to him then. But now, let's have our special celebrities get up here. I think we're at the Life magazine people. We're at the Life magazine people. So Billy is one of those people. Mark is one of those people. Sam is one of those people. And Tim, please come up here on behalf of your cousin, Michael Buck. Michael Buck is the only person in the original 16 who's deceased, so his cousin, Tim McVeigh, is going to accept on his behalf.
Walter, how come you're honoring the 4 men in the picture, but not the 2 women?
Tracy Roy, get up here, and April Lewis, get up here. What was I thinking? These are the most important people. So they got up there on that November morning, November 7th, 1982, dressed as cheerleaders, simply because they were cheerleaders. I mean, it's interesting how many people have asked me, like, so you got some people that dress up as cheerleaders. No, they were the cheerleaders. They were the cheerleaders for Tumble High School. So, anyway, you guys get in front. Like usual, they're in front. Okay, you gonna do the splits again? Like on the photo?
We did them earlier today.
Okay, so did them earlier. She actually did that split there for the reunion photograph. So, wow. So, a lot of the people in the photograph did want to come, but a bunch of them just simply didn't have the money to cover the expenses to come for this. So, when we do this again, with even more advanced notice, we could turn this into a full-blown reunion where maybe all 15 people do come and all 5 cheerleaders. Like, where are the other cheerleaders, do you know? Okay, so we know where the cheerleaders are, so we can make this happen. But I'm going to get their awards out, but let's have a round of applause. So, in a funny sort of way, this is like possibly the most recognizable, which is another way of saying maybe the most famous photograph in the entire global video game industry. Because it's so easy to make it memorable and recognizable because it's so unique and distinctive. And everybody seems to recognize it now, even people who have nothing to do with video games. So it's quite a remarkable thing that it was in a Tumblr and that we're able to have these reunions. And as the time goes on, we'll have more and more reunions where even more people come. And let's give them the awards. So Billy, take over.
Well, I'm sorry I have to teach Walter something here, but we have the ladies first. So who's been coming to most every event that we have since we've been having these reunions? She has, and we've been twisting her arm to get the other cheerleaders here, and now she's begun that. But again, on that cold November day, we as players had no idea what was going on. We were there, we were in the street, and suddenly 5 cheerleaders showed up, and a bunch of guys for cheerleaders to show up in 20-degree weather was very unusual. And then immediately after the photo, naturally we would talk to them and ask them their name and be inquisitive. The second to last photo was taken, they were gone. Absolutely gone. And
you put on a skirt, Billy.
Right. Okay. I'm not saying anything. Okay, April Lewis and Tracy Gore, come on up. Okay, one at a time, different players came in, and every question was, who's this guy? What's he good at? And it was always a silly question, who's this guy? What's he good at? And we always wanted him to be good. We wanted the spirit. We never wanted him to be too good at the wrong game. So there was a guy that was really good at Battle Zone. So that was good, because there's nobody good at Battle Zone. It was really cool to watch. Then he was good at Pac-Man, and I thought, who's this guy? He's hustling in on my action. But anyway, from North Carolina, Sam Blackburn. He's a great guy, and this is his first time to Ottumwa since November of '82. Then out of California, and supposedly California had a lot of great players. So we thought. So a guy came in who was good at like most every game that was cute. You know, he was good at like Moon Patrol, and he would be good at Berserk, and he'd be good at all of those what I call logical games. And he was kind of quiet, and he played Frogger, and he played icon games that you guys would still be familiar with. And we've seen him a couple times since we've gone to California, and now, it's your third trip here? Okay, his third trip here, so he's a senior. Mark Robacek. Both of these guys, I find it interesting that in their job and their living, what they did, how they learned video games, the intuition they had in their mind is what led to their careers. Basically, they're brainiacs, and I don't want to describe what it is they do because I'd probably get it wrong. Last of all, can somebody hold the camera for him? Okay, it was really cool in 1982 because it was a local guy, and we always like to pick on the local guys, and it was a local guy. It wasn't Tim McVeigh, okay? But it was a guy by the name of Mike Buck, and he's in the picture, and he's on the far in the back right, and we were always following everybody through the years. Yeah. We were following everybody through the years as to what they were doing and what we had recently heard. And when we heard that the first one in the group, kind of like the first one of a graduating class that passed away, it was really sad. He was a real likable guy. He was a big guy who laughed a lot, so it was hard not to like him. He was a really cool guy. And it was especially cool because he was a local guy. It was always us guys that come from the coast, big city gunners, that nobody was going to be able to match, period. And there's always exceptions to the rule. Well, he's the cousin of Tim McVeigh, and Tim's here to accept it on his behalf. So, Tim McVeigh on behalf of Michael Buck. Then, as I always say, there was one guy who came here to visit. When he visited, unlike everybody else in the picture, they all went home. There was one guy who didn't get home, who did go home, who developed an obsession for what was going on. He came to the town constantly. He got involved in business. He constantly played video games. He constantly tried to push the pendulum higher and higher and higher. And the fact of the matter is, Walter Day at times had stepped back, and there was one guy that was always kicking him on the backside. Move, move, move. And that's somebody's me. And I'm glad I did it. But that's enough talking for me. I'll turn it over to anybody who might want to say something. Some are bashful, but believe me, some of these guys like to talk.
So we are both graduates of Ottumwa High School, 1983. Woo! Yay! So April is still, she lives here in Ottumwa, and I have been in Phoenix, but I love hanging out with the guys. We've been all over the country. Me not so much as Billy and Walter, but I really do when we meet up in Chicago or Banning, California. It's just nice to kind of relive back in 1982, and it's all of these guys are great people, and Walter, your dedication, and to keep bugging me, you know, like the next trip. Thank you so much, and then I actually did get April here, so hopefully we can get 3 more of the cheerleaders. So thank you for all coming tonight.
Yes, thank you. I just want to say thanks to Tracy and Walter and where's Jerry, who kept reminding me that, there we go, that this day was coming up. I would agree with Tracy. It's really quick how things come back and you remember all those warm feelings and all those things that happened that day. Well, not all the feelings were warm because it was freezing cold that day, but what time did we get the call saying, hey, throw on your cheerleading outfit? Yeah, and we had to be there like 6:30 in the morning, wasn't it? It was really early in the morning. They closed down Main Street, like, throw on your cheerleading, uniform. We're going to take your picture. Who would have ever dreamed, that it was going to turn into something like this? So very thankful. Thanks for coming out. Thanks to all you guys. And yeah, I'm going to be a permanent fixture. So thank you.
Hi everyone. I did come from California. I actually flew in yesterday. But Walter Day is someone who I never knew when I was playing video games. It's just this name that was on the other side of the phone sometimes. And I really just feel a special affinity for him to have started something that turned into, for me, 2 movies, an IMDb listing. I never considered myself an actor. And just the whole camaraderie of meeting these 20 or so wonderful people who were part of that Life magazine photo. And it's a part of history. I never took it too seriously, but now I take my obligation seriously enough that if Walter says, you gotta come here for this, I do. And thank you, Walt.
Like I said, what they did or what their passion was often spawned into what it is they do in life, so I guess I wanted him and Sam to describe that a little bit.
Okay, well, what I do now has nothing to do with what I did for my career. I was a systems engineer turned quality manager, and now for the past 9 years, I'm a casino party dealer. If that sounds like fun work, it really is. I recommend it. Thank you.
I guess I'm the boring guy. So the way I always approached video games was as a problem to be solved rather than a game to be played. So we would always find those edges in the logic where we could exploit to gain points. After that, joined the Air Force, became a computer programmer, and today I'm still developing software doing computer forensics and still thinking sideways.
I'm Tim McVeigh, not the Oklahoma City Bomber, Google it. I'm really proud to accept this on behalf of my cousin Michael Buck. I wish he was here with us. It'd be a lot more fun if he was. I don't belong up on stage with these people. This is the Sgt. Pepper's album cover is what everybody tells me. And I'm really proud that somebody in my family represented us on the picture. So I wish Michael was here. He's not. I'm really happy and honored to accept this award on his behalf. Thanks everybody for coming, and I thank these guys for coming back every year. Thank you.
There seems to be a core group of people that always support an event, or at least always try to. We have mostly contact with most of the people in the photos, so I'll put the monkey on these guys' back that for the future events that begin next year, the Hall of Fame, the celebration of Life magazine, and where esports has taken us, they need to get a little rough with our friends that we still have contact with to see to it that they're here next year. That's all. Other than that, be proud of them. They're great.
There are quite a few people we would like to honor tonight. We will honor, except that they're not here. So, do you have that? So here are some of the people from the Life magazine photo that we did do cards for, but they're not here. Mike Lipkowski is now Dr. Michael David Lord, who's the president and CEO of Washington University in Washington, D.C. Leo Daniels owns a pachinko world parlor in Wilmington, North Carolina. He wanted to come, but he's one of the people who simply wasn't financially available to come. Doug Nelson, he's a longtime rock and roll star in different bands. He's in Southern California. He wanted to come but couldn't quite make it. Todd Walker, he got into the plumbing trade and simply has abandoned the video game world and simply didn't want to come. And Jeff Brandt, he's He's a system analyst for State Farm Insurance at their corporate world headquarters in Bloomington, Indiana. Eric Jenner, he's a game designer in Mountain View, California. Is that right, Mark?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And then Stephen R. Landon.
Stephen Landon said he, I like being a bad guy. Stephen Landon said he would be here. Today we called him and he said he couldn't come because his dog was sick. He blamed it on the dog.
Dog ate safety.
His dog ate a whole bunch of straight pins, so they had to take it to the vet and have it operated on. And he said the expenses were so much he wouldn't allow him to come. But that sounds pretty rough, eating straight pins. He'd be coming from a suburb of Chicago. And then Joe West, bless his soul, wherever he is, he couldn't come because there's a lot of reasons why he couldn't come. And Steve Sanders is on a family outing in Salt Lake City, Utah. But we have trading cards for all of them, awards for all of them. We're going to send it to them. Let's hear it for the people. And they'll probably all be here next year.
Does anyone know what name is missing from up there? It's Ben No Show Gold. I told him I would torment him. He never shows up for anything. He always talks about it, and he doesn't show up. His name's on the plaque downtown. He says he'll be here next year, so we'll hold his feet to the fire.
Ben Gold isn't shown here, and Chris Steele, who wanted to come, who's in Southern California. Chris Steele, by the way, has something called, a company called Steele Worldwide, and he's become a major liquidator of like Chinese merchandise and factory closeout sales and discount sales and stuff like that. So he has a website that sells like when some company in China wants to sell like 30 truckloads of sofas or something like that, that's his specialty. So it's very interesting. So these people are very highly successful people, and we're so honored that they came to Ottumwa, 35 years ago, a couple days ago, and we will get them here next year, we think. Anyway, what do we do next, Todd? And here are some more people who are going to be sending their awards to them. Kristen Apterix in the middle. She's married to Ernest Cline. Raise your hand if you know who Ernest Cline is. Okay, there's one person. So there's a new movie about to come out soon, made by Steven Spielberg. It's called Ready Player One. Ernest Cline wrote that story, and this is his wife. And she's a noted novelist too, and she's on a trading card because she's got a world record with twin galaxies. Now, Sean Hawley, Victor Marlin, they are noted journalists in Great Britain. They're being honored for their contributions to the culture, the gaming culture. They're going to be sent their cards and awards. And then another new world record holder is Arda O'Cow, who's from Canada, who's a recent new world record holder with a Twin Galaxy scoreboard. We'll be sending him his card also. Is there another page of these two?
Nope, nope, that's it.
Okay, because there's further people. Russ Millars in Great Britain is also being honored, and Jay Sherman. They'll be sending the cards too. So, Chris, could you come up here? Chris Tang? Patrick O'Malley, could you come up here? Triforce, could you come up here? And Lonnie, could you come up here? So, this is not the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, but these are the trading cards that have been created for those people who are being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So let's give them their cards now and get ready to get out of the way so we can start whatever happens next year. I can't remember. I guess the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Something else happens.
Player of the Year.
Okay, that's right. The Player of the Year next. So, why don't you guys stand right here?
I'm going to have fun with this one. Patrick O'Malley, he operates an arcade like an old arcade from the 80s, where you walk into an arcade and there's games and you play. It's not connected to a bowling alley, it's not connected to a golf course or anything. It's an old-fashioned 80s arcade. And we all argue that it may be the very last one in the US. So he's here from Illinois, but I just choose to pick on him a little bit because number one, I'm good at it, but number two, come on, you guys talk about my suit. Look at his shoes. Look at his suit. The truth of the matter is, when you look at his shoes, I should be wearing those. But not the suit.
I'm truly honored to receive his trading card, and this will look nicely with all the what we call wall candy at Star Wars Arcade.
Patrick will be up for the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies where we'll go further in depth into the amazing accomplishments that have led to him getting this card and being put into the Hall of Fame. So who's Triforce? Oh, you're Triforce. Those are Triforce. Okay, so Triforce is now a living legend. I'm glad he's living. And Triforce, do you have anything to say? Because this is not really the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, it's just giving them their cards, so I don't want to say too much right now because that's reserved for. So, anything you want to say now, though?
Okay, what I want to talk about is the Walter Day trading card collection and how important it actually is. And I never got the chance to actually thank you, Walter, for what you've done with the trading cards. But it's an actual blessing for Tumwa and gamers around the world that you time capsule as many people as you possibly can. Because honestly, no one would do this other than you. And for those who don't know, Walter has a thing called the Vault, and he has 250,000 cards that he has printed with thousands of gamers, industry leaders, and other relevant information of the history of video games. And I'm glad that you've done most of this work, and I hope you continue to do this work as much as possible. So I wish you success with the Walter Day collection trading cards.
I'm not sure.
Only people in the suit can be on the stage except for Walter. Okay, so I would echo what Triforce said. I mean, there's nobody more ingratiating to gamers than Walter, and to be able to do the things that he does. I'd ask you to support him. I mean, he doesn't, it costs money to do these things, and not just for people like me, but for everybody who's out there. And there are a lot of gamers that probably need to be recognized.
One thing that I've been very remiss in is that Lonnie doesn't need this to be said because he's very, very generous, very private. He doesn't need to have this be told to anybody, but he is the sponsor who gave us all the frames. So we are very blessed by having him pay for all the frames for this ceremony. So thank you very much. And it was not that easy to get the frames. I had to drive from here to Mount Pleasant to buy some, then up to Washington to buy the rest, and back to Fairfield. So it was a little bit of work to round these frames out. Chris is a remarkable person. I mean, when you see his card or you see his life story, he's got so many things he's been successful at. It makes my head spin. So I'll let him tell you about it instead, or at least thank us, and we'll get to him in the Hall of Fame presentation.
Hey guys, so I'd like to talk about these cards. When I first heard about these cards, back when they were in single, maybe double digits, you had guys like Billy Mitchell that I really looked up to, guys that were known for gaming excellence. And when I first heard about the cards, it was the first thing when I grew up. I didn't really play sports or get into sports, but I collected baseball cards, I collected football cards. I loved reading the backs of them, and they were like heroes in a sense that I knew they were at the best that they would be at what they do. And when video game trading cards were made, it finally allowed something that I was good at to put me on that, or a chance to be on that same level. I wasn't there yet, but it gave me a chance to dream, a chance to aspire to become something like that, something that I could read the backs of the cards, or someone else could read the backs of the cards and be inspired by that and try to do something more. And that was so important to me growing up. And it means so much to me when you started making those trading cards, and maybe push a little harder, maybe try a little harder, that maybe someday I'd be able to get to be on one. And when I first heard that I'd be on one, I think the first time was like in 2015, I was like blown away. I was like, oh, I'm finally gonna get one. Did I deserve it yet? I'm not sure, but it happened in 2015, that was the first one, and apparently there were a couple of others after that I didn't even know about. I don't even have them myself, but they're kind of cool. But this one is actually the coolest one of all. I love the picture, and it has the story, and because it has just like what I've done, it makes me realize that I have worked hard and I've come far, and maybe I can inspire someone in the future to do the same in gaming. So thank you so much, Walter, for making these cards possible. And I just love what's happened here. I love the whole culture and things. And thank you all for helping celebrate this.
The images that you're seeing up here, those front sides of the cards, they were not designed by me. They were designed by, I think he's 15 years old. Does that sound like Trey? He's a 16-year-old youngster who's doing, well, this is the Billy Mitchell card right now. So there's a 16-year-old in, I guess he's in London or something, named Carowin Akawumi Jones, who designed the cards as a gift. So it's a very nice design, and that was, of course, the Hall of Fame cards that we were just seeing. So before I finish with the Ryan Berger Award, why don't you show Todd your son's stuff if you can find it?
Yeah, if this thing works, right?
If the thing works. His son was involved in some sort of educational thing at the school or the library.
The library,
at the library, where he had to do some sort of show and tell, and this is what he decided to show and tell. If it works. Aiden's video game trading card selection. So he has a display and he's talking about it, I guess, and presenting it to people. And it's kind of neat that here's one youngster who actually recognized the historical and educational potential of the card set, actually employed it in such a way that he made a display in the library when they wanted him to do something educational. So that's very cool. So let's hear it for Todd's son.
Thank you.
And in that vein of education and historical research, let's get Ryan Berger up here right now. Ryan Berger. There he is.
Oh. Nope.
So are these distributed widely? They're over at that table over there. Okay, so back here there's a table that's displaying these, but Old School Gamer Magazine was just started. This is issue number 1, which is available at the table back over here, produced for free. Produced by Ryan Berger and his family, essentially, I guess. And what it does is it studies all that kind of history that pertains directly to the legacy of Twin Galaxies, Atomwa, and all the other stuff from that golden age of arcade gaming and the earliest console gaming. So we are giving a trading card award to Ryan Berger. Thank you for doing this, and recognizing that he's really much a part of it, made from the same fabric as the whole Twin Galaxy story is made from. So here you are, Ryan.
This is the first issue, by the way. The second issue is all we covered King of Kong, everything that's been happening here and all that kind of stuff. What we're doing is we're giving away the digital version forever for free, and you get the first copy of it in print here for free, and then you can subscribe if you want to. Really my gift to the industry after seeing what everybody else has done for this industry. I want to do something too. Thank you.
I think we've covered all the cards now. They're all presented, and this is something that's going to probably be repeated year after year after year. I can see this becoming a nice integrated part of the, what is it? Okay, of the annual,
so there's no slides for the
Old School Arcade
Okay.
Galaxies of Gaming Festival, and we have a lot of champions from previous cards who are there in the audience. So, but I guess there's too many to introduce. So I'm now required to get off the stage because they're now going to do the Gamer of the Year award. And they're going to go on to the Hall of Fame. Terry, thank you very much for bearing with us as we did all these wonderful presentations.
Okay, we're going to switch it up just a little bit, a little less formal. That's how we usually do things, less formal. So before we get into the actual Gamer of the Year, the actual top 3 for the Kids League and the Adult League, I just want to talk to you a little bit about what Gamer of the Year is. Gamer of the Year actually started with our very first event this year back in January. We decided to do 2 leagues, a Kids League and an Adult League. That way it'd be kids on kids, adults on adults, to try to keep it fair for the most part. So as time went on, we kept doing more and more events, and so we'd have set tournaments during these events. So depending on how you place in a tournament would determine how many points you got towards Gamer of the Year. So for instance, if you took first place, you could get 100 points towards Gamer of the Year. 90 points, 80 points, so on and so on. And so the tournaments have actually been a mix of everything. I'm talking arcade, pinball, all your classic home consoles. We even had a Game Boy tournament this year, Atari 2600 tournament. Numerous classic arcade. I mean, just a good mix of everything. I have thrown so much stuff at all these gamers all year long just to test them. And I've done stuff to take them outside of their comfort zone. Back in June, we had a Just Dance tournament. Some people, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Other people, they're just like, okay, you know, better than taking a 0. So, so before we actually get into the top 3 for each league, we need to award, we've done 6 tournaments between Friday and Saturday morning. We had 6 more tournaments to kind of cap it off. So we want to announce those winners real quick for the last 6 tournaments, and then we'll get into our actual top 3. So we'll start with the Kids League, starting with what's the first one? San Francisco Rush 2049. See the driver game right there. So 3rd place goes to Caleb Birdlow. Second place, Gabe Selwood. First place, Scotty Kramer. Star Wars Pinball. Real quick story about that. That was a brand new game in the box. What, 3 weeks ago? It got delivered to the arcade in the box. Tom Rhodes bought it from Gary Stern direct at the Pinball Expo. How cool is that? So, thank you, Tom, for bringing that wonderful piece here. 3rd place, River Ross. Right here. 2nd place, Lawson Bennett. First place, Scotty Kramer. Pac-Man Championship DX Edition on the Xbox 360. 3rd place, Scotty Kramer. 2nd place, Caleb Birdlow. First place, Isabella Hoffman. Centipede Arcade. 3rd place, Isabella Hoffman. Second place, Brandon Birdlow. In first place, Caleb Birdlow. Guitar Hero. Again, just a good mash, good mix-up of things. So 3rd place, Isabella Hoffman. Second place, Brandon Birdlow. First place, Scotty Kramer. Gun stringer for the Xbox 360. Third place, Drake Bartlett. Second place, Caleb Bertlow. First place, Isabella Hoffman. Okay, so it'll be the same tournaments, but this time it's for the adult league. So, Centipede, third place, Jay Woodward. Matthew Woodard, second place. First place, Wyatt Barwick. Guitar Hero. Third place, Kelly Applegate. Not here? Nick Davis took second, he's not here. Kelton Schiffer, first place. Star Wars Pinball, Nick Davis, third place. He's not here. Kelton Schiffer, second place. First place, Jade Woodward. San Francisco Rush, Tim Landis, third place. Second place, Kevin Kramer. Sean Everett, first place. Sean's not here. Pac-Man Championship DX Edition, third place, Matthew Woodard. Second place, Preston Dixon. First place, Tom Schumacher. Billy Mitchell. Gun stringer, third place, Tim Landis. Second place, Wyatt Barwick. First place, Kelton Schiffer. Okay, so now we're going to get back to a little more formal here. So we're going to go into our top three for the Kids League and the Adult League. We're just going to go right to third place here. You know, do the Adult League first. So, Bill Hoffman, open the envelope. Yeah, and once your name is called, please come up and accept your award.
So we really don't know yet. We're going to be as surprised as you.
He's lying, I know. You don't know, but I know. Kevin Archer. Third place, Adult League. Believe it or not, he still took third place and didn't play in any tournaments the last two events. Unreal. Kevin, do you have anything to say about Game of the Year, favorite moments, anything like that? The floor is yours.
Just want to thanks for this, and it's been a great year and had a lot of fun. What these guys are doing is something awesome. I mean, it's something we enjoyed a long time ago. They're still carrying on. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Second place. The right one now. Come on. Where's it at? Where's it at? There you got it. Second place. Adult League. It goes to Edward Birdlow, which is, he's not here. So, Minter, would you like to accept on behalf of Ed? First place, I already told you, I already know who it is. He doesn't, but I know. Our first place winner, I mean, right from the get-go, right out the door, I mean, he was unstoppable. I mean, right out the gate, I mean, he just took a huge commanding lead. And no matter how hard people tried to catch him, they couldn't catch him. So he had such a tremendous lead, like he could do bad in some tournaments, and it was okay because he was still just unstoppable and untouchable. So, Bill, go ahead.
Wyatt Barwick.
First place. So Wyatt's going to speak on behalf of what it's like to be a part of Gamer of the Year, favorite memories, maybe favorite tournaments. The floor is yours.
Our Game of the Year was a really nice experience. A lot of good tournaments have happened, like Bad Cats Pinball was one of my favorites. It's like I didn't even place in it, but it showed me some experience of why I should like pinball more. Because I really didn't appreciate pinball as much as I did there. And just the experience I've had, I've met a lot of people through this. It's been a nice experience overall. I'd like to thank the committee for just hosting it, and thank the people who supported me through this. That's pretty much all I have to say.
So, real quick before he goes, I will say, I did say earlier we had a Just Dance tournament. This guy was all over. He's so Just Dance guy. Oh, and he did. He won it. It was really awesome. I mean, Wyatt's one of those guys, I mean, he's very knowledgeable. He's only 14, believe it or not. He's a big kid for 15. Happy birthday to the Game of the Year, Adult League. Forgot all about that. 15 years old, I'm sorry. So, I mean, he's just been awesome. I mean, his skill, like I said, I mean, even when he didn't place, it was still okay. He still held his head up high and just kept moving forward. Doesn't have anything else, so one more time for Wyatt. 2017 Adult Gamer of the Year for a Tumble Old School Pinball Renegade. So moving into the Kids League. Wow, the Kids League. So the Kids League this year, it was a constant neck and neck battle all year long, all the way to the very end. First, second, third just kept changing. They did. And then the fourth and fifth, I mean, it was just all over. You didn't know who was going to win. I mean, it was crazy how it all played out. I mean, nuts. So, I think you have more to elaborate on that.
Well, like Terry said, we'll get into the awards here in a second. We said when we announced Adult Gamer of the Year that one came out and stayed ahead. The kids tournament, we were not so fortunate. Like Terry said, We had some that were within 10 points, 20 points. In fact, I still don't know. It was very tight today, but I want to say each and every child that participated in the Gamer of the Year tournament worked hard, and they put their heart into it. They're good, responsible kids, and even when one would lose a game and one would win, they were constantly cheering each other on. They were on each other's side. You all know that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. They were constantly together. I think Terry and I got more gray hairs out of it than anybody else. But yeah, I just want you to know, no matter what these hold, and like I said, I don't know, they all worked extremely hard, and I'm proud of each and every one of them.
So before we start the third, I do want to say too that with the Kids League, I mean, we did tell them, you know, hey, it's okay to game, but responsibility comes first. We did teach responsible gaming this year. Responsibility comes first. Your homework, physical fitness, learning, do good in school, do what your mom and dad tell you, you know, all that before gaming. So without further ado, who is our third place Kids League? Come on, it's just an envelope. Brandon Bertlow. So, Gamer of the Year, how was it? Do you have any favorite memories, any favorite games?
Cruising World.
Cruising World is your favorite game, but I don't think we've done Cruising World as a tournament. Do you have any favorite tournaments that we've done?
Centipede.
Centipede was your favorite? Awesome. You have anything else to say to the people? No? Okay. Brandon. Second place. Come on, it's an envelope. There you go. Caleb Bertlow. Caleb. Hurry, go get him. I told him to stay around. Kids.
He's probably out playing those video games.
Probably. Hear him yelling all over here. I apologize, everybody. There he comes. There he comes. Second place winner, Gamer of the Year. Hey, don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. So, do you have any favorite memories from Gamer of the Year? Any favorite tournaments? Anything that you want to tell all these people out here? Turn around, face these people. They all want to look at you.
Guitar Hero?
Guitar Hero? Was there anything else that you liked? Any memories from Gamer of the Year?
Carnival?
We didn't do Carnival. That's just Carnival is his favorite game, and I cannot begin to tell you how many times this kid has beat it. He'll sit there and like double gun it all night. And the first time he done it was actually at Doc Mac's place at Calican Ghost. Anything else? Take that as a no. So, congratulations, Caleb, second place. Here we go. First place Kids League, 2017. Isabella Hoffman. What about you? Any favorite memories, favorite tournaments, anything you want to tell the fine people out here? You want to talk? Okay, here.
My favorite game was Gunslinger.
Gunslinger, that was a what, you just done that today, right? The Gunslinger? Oh, yesterday, okay. Anything else? Any other favorite memories, favorite games? Any advice to the people out there?
Just try your best.
Try your best. So give it up for Isabella Hoffman. 2017, the Tunnel Old School Pinball and Arcade Kids League Gamer of the Year. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and take a 10-15 minute intermission so you can stretch, use the restroom. If you smoke, have a cigarette. And we'll come back in here and we will get going again. The biggest reason why you're here, the International Video Game Hall of Fame Class of 2016.
On the Atari platform 2600, put your hand up. Paul. He was playing Berserk since 8:30 in the morning. I love delivering news. Crash and burn.
Oh no!
But look at him closely. The game froze up. He says it's not his fault. Go look at the score. The score froze at 666. It did. So stay away from that guy.
So the time now is 7:40, so we'll try to get back in here by 8, and we'll get going with the Hall of Fame portion of tonight's ceremony. Thank you.
Now you can switch to the Wi-Fi. Yes. I thought you switched to
I was on the Wi-Fi.
We'll be right back.
Okay, that was really hard.
actually wraps around and goes back to the easy.
Yeah, it's big. In fact, I think it's every 5 levels. It goes back to the very easy, slow, easy level.
But you do. So, but can it change in the middle that back to the back?
Yes,
at any time.
Yes, and that's the problem. On the time you get to the 5th level, every 5th level, you only got the one crocodile going in the back. This right. You won't be able to get the frog.
Is he disappearing too? Is he a disappearing crocodile?
No, it's a crocodile, so if
but he can still eat his snake.
I'm gauging it.
Yeah, which I've done many millions of times. So, if I were to try, now are you doing 5 guys or 3 guys? It's always 5.
Actually, the game starts with 3. You get 1 extra life for 3,000.
Yeah, but I noticed a lot of these have 5.
Some have 5, some have 3, plus 2 extra lives.
You think you hit the 400,000 with 3?
Total of 5.
We're supposed to leave
Inside of a...
Wow.
switch it over.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not gonna switch it. And he was like, no,
I'm so sad. And you know what? That was the thing I put my heart into doing this the right way. I really did a lot of stuff all weekend, but this is the main reason. And it was a total fit. And I'm hoping the whole thing goes well. So otherwise, you know, I don't know. This is
I can stop it.
See, I'm rusty at it. I haven't been playing. You've been playing all this time? No. You're rusty too?
I think it's
I need to go play it, but I'm way rusty. Well, good. Well, thanks. Good meeting you. Thanks for letting me interview you on this. This is kind of my heroes, I guess, since I played Frogger. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm still like number 16. I hope that stays up there. I like seeing that 1980 video. But I noticed that some of the videos doing probably come on. And then say Pac-Man and anyway, good meeting you.
But I had already I know it's not Johnny.
Yeah. I like seeing those old.
I have it. Actually, video camera.
I just want to say I was very curious about what. I told Eli. That's her place around the boat.
I looked at it.
They had to give her the ambulance. But he was like, no worries about it. Like, enjoy your day.
So I had all of
Yeah, but they don't, like I say, they don't show hey. Like the one document. Yeah, they just
I no longer the third highest target if I need the third highest hurdle.
I think you were either 3 or 4.
Yeah, well, no, it actually has
I don't think anybody else on it. Except for maybe one guy who could.
Yeah, I had like the whole anyway.
Me too. So are you on this when they meet their age?
No, it's
you don't have any.
I love you guys too. You know, whatever. I know you guys are laughing like it's stupid.
I do need this.
I played it in Jerry's basement. This is Jerry's machine. He had me over at his house.
Oh yeah, it comes out. Well, it comes out. Yeah, it comes out very soon.
It's not there.
Sometimes you push it sideways, it goes forward.
Oh my god.
Forward myself.
It's a little hairy.
And then I had like the worst chap lips. It's like freezing here. I had to buy chapstick I bought chapstick at the dollar store, and it like ripped my face off because it was hard as a rock.
They're probably expensive.
I mean, they're fairly standard across different games, so maybe take one of all the contacts that are properly positioned.
Yeah.
Everything
So I wonder
this is actually the part. It's my own fault. Oh, and then freaking Paul, he started at 8:30 this morning doing a record, and he would have broke it at 9:30, 10 o'clock, and like a half hour ago the game froze. He's been playing since 8:30 this morning. the game froze. You bet. So he can't get the record. Atari 2600 Berserk. What? Well, I'm glad you guys are having a good time. I miss you guys. Okay. All right. Did they like the video on Hannah? What? Oh. Okay. All right. Let me know what he says. All right. I'm gonna go. Yeah. I'll let you know how it goes. Love you. Oh, there's bye. Thanks. Good the last time I saw that. Oh. Yeah, it's not fly. I had two originally, but they threw one. No biggie. I really shouldn't be this nervous. I'm not sure. Yeah. I mean, usually, it's like. I think what it is like when I'm in a competition, I'm like all business because I actually have to perform like a task in that mission. But this one's like different. Like it's not. There's no success. It's not previous. It's just well, there's I have to represent things properly and not embarrass them. There's that. But it's not the same as beating a score, trying to beat the Really? Yeah, I get you. Like there was that whole sense of in general people go oh, this guy's terrible. Well, I think it'd be fine. I guess the only thing to think about is the closing thing is yeah. Yeah, I'd probably say thank you if he doesn't time. Well, I'll figure out his flow. Yeah, I don't want to disrupt what you're playing now. I'm just saying that happened. But so what? Yeah. The consequences. Well, I guess the reason, like, I'm good off the cuff, but this one is so important as I can. I have to make sure that I get to the point and thank everybody that I need to. I guess you have a sense of time about before. Yeah. Within reason, but yeah. Well, actually, I think you have as much time as you need. I have as much time as I have on that. I fail if I see the lens go in. I actually do have. All right, now I've got to but yeah, I'll make sure I. I kind of warned them about those intermissions that I don't see any purpose. And that's why I made my concerns heard. Oh, they didn't even respond. They didn't respond. But I think the people on that are right. I mean, it's kind of
I think that's why I like Becky was celebrating. Can't be helped. Well, because the original. Yeah. I colored the blocks to be Tetris legal, and we have long bars coming in, ready to drop it in for a pro Tetris for Jeff. And this is a Sonic the Hedgehog motif. No, I'm the Sega World Champion. That's the thing. That was the biggest tournament I won, $25,000 international. On MTV all over the world. Significant step, biggest thing I ever had. I'm proud of that. Represent and it was just one of like many I was actually several yeah.
Any speech tips for last year?
I got a lot of notes. I would. It's not ready, but it's...
Oh, you're taking off for the night? For the... Well, it's one for the series. And there's a... Yes, well, I know. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Actually, maybe moving to your area.
My area?
Oh, you're going to say in Des Moines. Alright, it's like Katarina and cheese, pineapples. Okay.
Boy!
That's it.
I'll be fancy that. If you want to.
I actually left the family reunion. I actually spent Thursday with my family, and then I left them alone before we spent for other people. And I just told her, hey, you have the one day. Samson's dinner. I'm not sure where he's been. Oh, there's Santa. Okay. All right. Bye-bye now.
Three minutes, and we'll be starting the Hall of Fame portion of tonight's ceremony. 3-minute warning, so if you can make your way back to the center court area. 3 minutes, we'll be starting the Hall of Fame portion of tonight's events.
He's going to the bathroom.
And the car. I need the dongle. Hey, wait, you have a face. Do you ever make appearances without the mask? Okay.
I do stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay. As in Hollywood? As in Hollywood?
Somehow the projector got.
I know. Chris, I'm so frustrated. I had everything working right. Wow. And then the projector finishes, the lamp broke. 5 minutes before it started. And we were scrambling to get it working. It sounds like it. I had to go in and it
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that happened.
No, I'm so frustrated because in the beginning, because this projector doesn't work right, and the slideshow totally went berserk, and I had to restart it. I'm very frustrated, to be honest, but I'm gonna lesson learned, and I'm gonna make sure next year they let me do my own thing and not give me the, I'll bring my own stuff. But I should maybe I should try to focus it while we're waiting.
Yeah. Use time.
Almost.
The problem is this is not the projector that I practice on. So the problem is it's the shape of the square. Yeah. It's not, and the remote doesn't work. So they gave me.
Yeah. Your options are limited.
And so what I did is I took pictures of you up there and video, so I hope it turns out good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be presenting one of the Hall of Fame awards.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I'm going to hand you the phone one more time for that.
All right. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I have everything. This is the one I really worked the hardest on. So ready?
So, ladies and gentlemen, if I can get you guys to come back and take your seats so we can begin the last portion of our ceremonies tonight. Again, it is the International Video Game Hall of Fame Class of 2016 inductions. So at this time, I would like to introduce the two men who are going to kind of take control of the Hall of Fame portion of tonight's festivities. Mr. Walter Day and Billy Mitchell, if you guys can make your way to the stage. They're going to kind of open it up and talk to you about what the Hall of Fame is and what it does and the future of the Hall of Fame and that kind of thing, and then get into the inductions.
What some of the players were talking about, some of the people who got awards were talking about earlier plays into the Hall of Fame. They like the fact that they got cards, they got awards, they got a recognition, because none of those things will ever now be lost to history, because they're in writing, they're in print. Walter very much enjoys making history real, bringing it to light, making it official. It will not be forgotten even when it's gone from people's memories. That's sort of what the Hall of Fame is. That's what it's real, and it puts it in a light that it's permanently memorialized, and those people who get credit, that deserve credit, will always have it. The bad news is, we could probably sit here and name 50 or 100 people off the top of your head that are deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely deserving. You can do the same thing with baseball. But there's a process, and only so many people each year. Every one of those deserving people probably will be in the Hall of Fame, but the fact of the matter is, there's only so many at a time. I have so many friends that I've even apologized to them. Gee, I'm sorry, I think you should have been. But this guy was, somebody who was equally deserving. there's only so many at a time, and history is slowly catching up to itself. So all of those who deserve recognition will eventually get recognition. It's the kind of thing you'd like to say that you're going to recognize everybody who deserves it, but you simply can't. That's absolutely the truth. But again, this, just like the trading cards, just like the awards, it gives recognition to all of the efforts that you put into it, even efforts that you think were minor, that were part of the culture, and now they're forever remembered, that we passed on from generation to generation. That's what truly creates the value. I'm sorry, were you going to stay over there, or would you like to come up here, please? A lot of that nice talk actually was directed towards Walter and his efforts, but we don't have to tell him that.
So there are 3 board members here tonight. Mary's going to relax. You don't have to come up, Mary, but Mary's finally getting a chance to eat her dinner. So myself and Billy and Mary Gaskell are members of the board of directors of the International Video Game Hall of Fame. David Bishop, who's in Florida, is a member. Brian Cady, who's in Seattle, is a member. And Grace Snokey, who's in Lincoln, Nebraska, is a member. And we are honored. We are honored to guide the growth and development of the International Video Game Hall of Fame, which is a 501c3 not-for-profit education organization that's been designed to honor and commemorate the history of the global video game and electronic esports culture and industry. So this will be our third, I believe it's our third round of inductions, and we are like with the third class of 2016, and we're kind of like in the same, we're going through the same evolutionary process that many Hall of Fames have gone through. Like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they were inducting people for I think a dozen years or 15 years before they actually got their Hall of Fame building and really built and opened up and fitted out with all their displays and stuff like that. And the NASCAR Hall of Fame, I think they were doing it for some years before they had their facility. And the Baseball Hall of Fame, it started with a single baseball. A man found an old baseball in his barn in Cooperstown, New York, and put it on display. If I have the story right, someone donated something, and someone donated something else. And before you know it, they begin to view themselves as like a museum that somehow became an official museum. So Cooperstown, New York, that small town, became like the spiritual hub of essentially the worldwide baseball industry, definitely American baseball industry. And Charlotte's become the hub with its NASCAR Hall of Fame for the NASCAR industry. And Canton, Ohio for the football industry. So it's not that far of a leap for Ottumwa, Iowa to be the home of what grows into becoming the officially recognized International Video Game Hall of Fame for the global esports and video game industry. So when we stand up here, we are very, very honored. Even though Billy and I would joke about many things, we are deeply, deeply honored to be up here doing this on behalf of the global video game industry. And we do it with a serious solemnity because we believe this grows into something big, something so big that it embraces the global video game industry and brings all that energy and dynamic power and force and financial and wherewithal here to bear on Ottumwa, to make Ottumwa and the state of Iowa a serious tourist destination and maybe educational hub for everything we do. So that's the spirit with which we present these awards tonight. Even though you see we have modest settings, we have high aspirations, and we believe in this. So thank you for coming to Ottumwa. I'm ready when you're ready, Todd. The International Video Game Hall of Fame Class of 2016 inductees are...
Start with the first one.
What happens next? Okay, so...
Again, following the example of things like the Baseball Hall of Fame, people and things are chosen. The very first criteria is what they call sportsmanship. The second one is contribution to the hobby. And actually, the third one is your ability. But every one of those has to be met. every one of these people that we speak about, they all meet that to the highest level. It's actually very easy to accept all that because we see it all the time and we embrace it. It's really, really good. First, a modern game, a sandbox game, Minecraft. It's by Marcus Persons of Mojang. It was first released in 2009. It was the best-selling independent game with over 60 million copies. 60 million, I look back on it. Pac-Man had 100,000 units made. Now we're at 60 million. So that's where it's grown, and we've grown with it, and it all began here. Mojang was sold to Microsoft for $2.5 billion. Did you ever think maybe we're on the wrong end of the business? As of 2014, it had 1.75 billion hours of playing time. I mean, wow. That's more time than you talk. So the fact of the matter is, Minecraft is certainly a game that deserves this honor. And Minecraft is inducted into the Hall of Fame as a modern game. Again, Minecraft, whoever hasn't played it, where have you been? By the way, there's nobody who walks up here to accept a game. A game doesn't walk up to the stage, so we get to move along more quickly.
So we will be sending the award. I guess there's just one more little element of research we have to do. We're not sure if we should be sending this to Mr. Persons himself or to Microsoft. So we'll figure that out. But somebody's going to be a recipient for this award. And of course, no one's here to accept it tonight. So we're going to move on to the next game, which is the 2000, another category of game that people voted on is the most deserving inductee drawn from those games that were published in the 2000 era, like maybe the year 2000 to the year 2010. And World of Warcraft, hands down, was the winner based on the votes submitted by the public through our online website. So World of Warcraft was first released in 2004 by Blizzard Entertainment. It's the most popular MMORPG, which means massive online role-playing game. Thank you. That is a replica of all time. It's the world record for longest marathon play is 29 hours. The world record for longest marathon play is 29 hours and 31 minutes. And there's over 11 million subscriptions to date to play online. So it's a major success of a game. And there are 6 expansion releases for this game to date. So on behalf of the International Video Game Hall of Fame, we're honored to induct the game World of Warcraft as this year's 2000 era game inductee. So let's hear it for World of Warcraft. These trophies are very, very beautiful, by the way. The trophies were donated by Jerry. Is the sign up there? Maybe Jerry's not. Which one? Quantum Laser Products was the donor of the different trophies we'll be presenting tonight. And they're based out of where, Jerry? They're where? Kissimmee, Florida, okay. Okay, what is next, Todd? Okay. The next category that the public voted on is selecting the game of the year deserving to be inducted as a member of the class of 2016 for the category of 90s era games. So you see we have these different categories. That's how we get the inductees and have them submitted. So, and the winner for this year's 90s era game is Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. And it was released in North America in 1992. And this is the 3rd installment of the very renowned Zelda franchise. The music was composed and produced by Koji Kondo, I hope I pronounced that right, correct? And it's one of the best-selling SNES games of all time with 1.41 million copies sold as of 2006. So the first game to begin the Zelda trademark of parallel worlds. And you see all the different graphics up there. And there is a trading card for this, by the way, if anybody like it, okay? So essentially, on behalf of the International Video Game Hall of Fame, we'd like to induct Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past as this year's officially voted on 90s era game. So let's hear it for it. Now what we're doing, because there's not a representative of Nintendo was interacting with us just at the last minute, and they were sad they couldn't come, and they really liked what was happening. So we did have them very much involved, but they felt it was short notice, so they didn't come. But we will be sending these to them, and so I'm going to also introduce. I introduced Super Mario Brothers, which was the Golden Age game. Now let's turn to Billy for a second. What is the Golden Age?
The Golden Age, as we define it, is anything up until 1986. However, you might even say that's our rules. But the Hall of Fame defines it as anything before 1990. We say that it was 1986 because at 1986, that's when arcade games made a tremendous turn. First of all, it wasn't one quarter, one play. Every game that came out, you'd play a game, and when you died, you just put a quarter in and keep going. So somebody would say, oh, I got the high score. I'd say, yeah, how much did it cost you? It was the old joke. And so the fact of the matter is, but we can, as the Hall of Fame has voted, because I don't always win the arguments, a classic game is anything before 1990. 1985 is significant because if you go to Nintendo, they have their wall of history, and it begins in 1985. We all know that it began long before that, but that's when they began releasing games to the home on a serious level. That's when they were moving from the arcade to the home game, and that was without a doubt the catalyst that put them there. It was so incredible at that time. It dominated everything that there was. And as we know, there was Mario Brothers in the arcade, so those who loved Mario Brothers in the arcade simply stepped over to the home system, and it was the outrageous success for Nintendo.
So this year's inductee by the International Video Game Hall of Fame is voted on by the public for a Golden Age game as Super Mario Brothers, which was designed by Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka, I hope I pronounced it correctly, and is released in North America in 1985 with 40 million units sold, which was a very large number back then. And in 2005, IGN, which is a very famous publishing empire, which is concerned with gaming, named Super Mario the greatest game of all time. So it was re-released numerous times on multiple platforms, and it inspired cartoons and a live-action film based on the game. So we will be sending these awards off to Nintendo, but we do have a person who will be receiving these on behalf of Nintendo in a moment. And what is our next one, Todd?
Walter's always wondering if he gets the pronunciations correct. I know mine are correct. Satoru Iwata. In the year 2000, he was the head of Nintendo's corporate planning. Without a doubt, an industry leader. And that's what he's being honored for. He is credited with creating Nintendo Direct in 2011. He's also credited with the development of Pokemon, Gold and Silver. I mean, Pokemon of all things. As the president of Nintendo during that period, there was the creation of the Nintendo DS and the Nintendo Wii. I mean, that's incredible things in the gaming industry. Again, someone who's very deserving. And I say, a very significant honor that he received. He did pass away in 2015. However, in 2016 at the DICE Awards, he received a Lifetime Achievement Award. And with all respect and a little humor, I say that was very significant. I think it'll be the second most significant thing on his Wikipedia. The most significant thing is he'll be inducted to the International Video Game Hall of Fame as an industry leader in 2016.
So we now have 3 monumental awards up here recognizing 3 components of the legendary, amazing Nintendo franchise, Nintendo Empire. So we invited a very noted gamer to come up here and be the official person to officially accept these 3 awards on behalf of Nintendo. It'll be part of our next round of organization as we figure out exactly how these will be delivered to Nintendo in Redmond, Washington. So,
in the beginning, I talked about somebody's sportsmanship for the hobby and their contribution to the hobby. This one I look at in particularly close. You look at him, he looks like a video game guy. His spirit was tremendous. And his spirit was so tremendous, even though, again, he passed on in 2015, what he created, what he helped to create, and what he pushed forward, all of us, it's going to be a part of our hobby, our fun, our culture for a long, long time. The person, without a doubt, who's closest to them, that we know, so close to them he's literally a thorn in their side at times. And for sure, he's the one who's qualified to speak on a first-person level, is Triforce. So Triforce, come up here, please.
So on behalf of the International Video Game Hall of Fame, the International Video Game Hall of Fame, I'd like to present to Triforce the award for Satoru Iwata, and we'll figure out how to get it to him and get it to Nintendo in Redmond, Washington. I'd like to present you the award for Super Mario Brothers and the award for Zelda: Link to the Past.
No.
Yes. Okay, so for those who know me, I'm a big Nintendo fan, but this is not about me. This is actually about Nintendo. Nintendo, well, yeah, exactly. So Nintendo has shaped the video game industry, and they're the actual reason why the whole console video game industry even exists. Guys like Walter and Billy knows about the collapse. And Nintendo single-handedly resurrected the entire video game industry, especially in North America. So they're responsible for the very foundation that the video game, the multi-billion-dollar video game industry even exists on. And guys like Iwata, who took Nintendo into a brave new future with the Nintendo Wii, the Nintendo DS, which has shaped the entire landscape for Nintendo to where they are today with their new video game system that they recently released, the Nintendo Switch, which ironically, the International Video Game Hall of Fame has inducted 2 of their greatest franchises in Super Mario Brothers and The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. And this year, 2 of the greatest Nintendo franchises will be battling it out for the actual video game of the year, and that's The Legend of Zelda: The Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Brothers Odyssey. So I want to give a big thanks and congratulations to Nintendo for their induction into the 2016 International Video Game Hall of Fame.
Hideo Kojima is this year's, the class of 2016's game developer for this year. And he's a video game designer, screenwriter, director, producer. He's the founder and former vice president of Konami Digital Entertainment. He's the creator of Metal Gear Solid. He's the creator of the Metal Gear Solid franchise, which is a remarkable franchise, which has been extremely successful, very, very popular. And his other games include Snatcher, Police Knots, and Lunar Knots. So in 2002, Newsweek named Hideo as one of the top 10 people. In 2009, he got a Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2016, Game Industry Icon Award. And in 2016, Game Industry Hall of Fame Award. So we are very honored that he's getting his most prestigious award of all. He's being inducted into the International Video Game Hall of Fame here in Ottumwa, Iowa, is voted on by the public who recognized him as the class of 2016's game developer. And we are very blessed that we have someone here who worked for Konami for many years and actually had worked, you know, I guess he never met Hideo Kojima. Michael Klug is a legendary video game champion who's been a part of many, many, many different activities that Twin Galaxies has, foisted on the world over the years, and so he's going to come up here and accept this on behalf of Konami. And we put him on duty to do this just a little while ago, so that's why he's not in this normal tuxedo.
I had the pleasure of working on Mr. Kojima's projects at Konami and accept this honor on his behalf.
Keep moving this up. All you guys are short. To embarrass Mike here, to speak a little about him, this is his third trip to Ottumwa. He wasn't here in 1982, but he was here in 1984. And he certainly is an absolute great gamer, a classic gamer. Anybody who ever played classic games played pole position. And everybody strived for that perfect score, or what they thought was a perfect score, which was about 67,000. You walked into the old Twin Galaxies on Main Street. Instead of sitting down to play the steering wheel, he sat up high. Now a perfect score is 67. He got 66,000 playing with his feet. So Mike has a unique talent. So he's going on in the game industry to do a lot of things and work with a lot of great people like you see here. Most things we do here, things we do in his home area, California, he's always here. He's always supportive of us. He's a great guy. So thank you, Mike. Okay, so he just hands me this now. Steve Wozniak, the Walter Day Lifetime Achievement Award. If anybody knows or knows of Steve, again, the legend, the level of the fact that he deserves this so much is so incredible. Again, he's not the only one, but it would be a tragedy if he wasn't up here. He was the co-founder of Apple Computers. He developed the Apple I in 1976, received the National Medal of Technology, created the first universal remote. Boy, that's important. He founded Wheels of Zeus in 2001. Founded Aquacore, is that how you say that? Technologies in 2006. Chief Scientist at Fusion IO in 2009. Chief Scientist at Primary Data in 2014. You think he's kind of a sharp cookie? He's a sharp guy. The fact of the matter is it's the Walter Day Lifetime Achievement Award, so that's why Walter's bashful. Now, the was very gracious. He knows of what was going on here. He has that spirit. He's beyond supportive. He wishes he could be here, and when he couldn't, he does what you sometimes see at different awards. He sent something short that he'd like to play, showing his appreciation and his acceptance of this award. Are we ready?
Ready. I hope.
Hi, Steve Wozniak here. I am overly delighted to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award from the International Video Game Hall of Fame. This means a lot to me because I think that video gaming is so important. I have my whole life. I spent a life believing that you should have fun in everything you do, and that was largely inspired by games as a kid. And the games were pretty dumb when I got into them. Yes, I started playing some of the early home video games, the little Nintendo ones, but the real arcade industry was being started by Atari Corporation. And I even designed Breakout for Atari, but in working there, all of the games were hardware designed games. It took a skilled engineer up to a year to create a prototype for a new game idea, because they were hooking chips with wires and signals that went up and down and operated a TV. All of those video games in those early days were black and white. Color was expensive, and they hadn't really solved the formula for creating the games in color. Memory alone was so expensive that it was kind of prohibitive to include extra bits for color, just black and white. Well, as I got these ideas in my head that gaming could take a step forward. You know, every step along the way has been important to us, and I would like to point out that the Apple II computer, which I created, was the foundation of our company. It was the only product, real successful product we had for the first 10 years of Apple. That's how big a product it was. What was this Apple II computer? Yes, it was a totally different approach to a computer that was so usable and fun and friendly. It allowed us to grow a company because it was so ahead of everyone else that we could sustain a large enough profit. But really, this was the first time ever that arcade video type games were color, and the first time ever they were software. A 9-year-old kid writing in BASIC could make colors move on a screen with statements as easy as let vertical equals 2, let vertical equal 5, let vertical equal 10. Make colors move on a screen. You could see what a huge change that was for the world and how important it was. I am so delighted with where video gaming took us. Everything got more and more natural, like you're in a real world, your own body getting involved in playing a lot of the games, the two-person shooters. Games went so far beyond what we ever could have conceived of when we started the company Apple. And I'm so glad to be well represented here and honored greatly. And in anything in my life, I have always tried to inspire young people to grow up having fun and don't believe that, oh, you have to do everything strictly by the rules. No, having fun is a good enough rule to live by. I hope you're all having a good time there tonight. Wish I were there in person. I'm very busy these days, doing a lot of traveling and speaking, but I wish you well, and I hope to see you at some future event. Bye now.
Just to say a little more about Steve, he took things from what many people would call a primitive age and helped to create the modern games that we see today. Professor Ayatwani, who was the designer of Pac-Man, told me that he worked on it for 2 years, and he would occasionally call on different people, about 6 different people, one for graphics or one for sound, and things like that. Nowadays, it's about 40 people, and it takes a few months. It's not the old way, and it's because of guys like him that the industry has evolved the way it has, pushed and propelled, and is going into the future. So that's why he's more than deserving of everything that we're talking about right here. So again, Steve Wozniak.
Is there someone here named Patrick O'Malley? The man in the suit and the shoes. Okay, voted for a class of 2016 for best shoes. Is Patrick O'Malley. Stand over here, Patrick, so they can eye your shoes. Okay. So Patrick O'Malley, not only is he a dear friend and a highly respected member of the gaming community, he actually is a historical icon for numerous reasons. One is he's one of the bright lights of competitive gaming for, you know, the nation. He still keeps arcade gaming going, and that's very, very remarkable. I have something that he has printed for me to read, but I'm going to point out that he's the winner, or he's the person who's been voted for the class of 2016 International Video Game Hall of Fame Community Action Award. And so, look at the big, is that a Pac-Man? What's that, is that a cake there? That was the Pac-Man Guardian. How many people have a Pac-Man Guardian? I mean, other than me and Pat. I'm only kidding, I don't have one.
Same amount of people that have a Pac-Man suit.
Okay, so in 1985, on January 11th, he opened up the Star Worlds Arcade in DeKalb, Illinois. That is literally one of the last remaining, what we describe as authentic, original, neighborhood, vintage arcades. Now, there's places that have video games out there, but quite often they have miniature golf and go carts and batting cages and stuff like that, and all sorts of stuff in bowling alleys and their family entertainment centers. But he is an actual arcade that is based on just video game and pinball. So that's a very unique distinction. One of the very last remaining vintage, original neighborhood arcades. So that's a very distinctive accomplishment. He founded the longest original arcade in the world, as I just said. He's the contributor to such events as Midwest Gaming Classic and the International Video Game Hall of Fame. When we first started the Hall of Fame, he was very instrumental in helping us get some of the original activities going the first year or so. So he's been very helpful, very devoted, very sincere, and very loving of all the stuff that has been generated out of this Ottumwa experience. And he runs one of the only remaining token-based arcades. Is that correct? Token-based arcades, okay? And he serviced over 45 different locations with arcade machines, which is around Illinois, Wisconsin, and Uzbekistan and Russia. Is that right? Oh no, not Uzbekistan? Okay, so anyway, Wisconsin and Illinois. So here's what he wants me to say. Patrick O'Malley, owner of Star World's Arcade in DeKalb, Illinois, has been part of the coin-operated amusement industry since 1985. Patrick started out with 3 used video games as a reward for good grades in high school. And it was not long before his small collection grew and he was operating Star World's Arcade. During the past almost 33 years, Patrick has preserved not only the games of the golden age of arcades, but the concept of the neighborhood arcade as well. He has been part of classic gaming events in Illinois, Iowa, and Wisconsin, and Patrick has made friends worldwide in the gaming community and continues to promote and inspires others to preserve an important part of our cultural heritage. And it's remarkable the amount of media attention he gets for his operation, because the people outside there, especially the media, recognize that he's doing this from the heart. He's doing this because he loves what he's doing and wants to share his love and enthusiasm for other people, which is really the whole spirit of what the Ottumwa phenomena has been all about. It's something we want to share with the world, so we're excited when people come here, like Patrick, to be honored and bring just more and more people here. So on behalf of the International Video Game Hall of Fame, you are the Class of 2016 Community Action Award winner. So there is that trophy. And here's the trophy, Patrick. Now you talk.
I'm extremely honored to be here tonight. My mom's not here, but she started Star World with me in 1985, and I was one scared kid because I was younger than most of the customers, but I started Star World because there was nothing in my area for kids. And my mom quickly she was going for nursing school, raising her family, working, and suddenly a week later I found myself actually running the arcade. And she kind of would step in and help me. And what she taught me early on, this award is so awesome because to be honored with it, is community mattered. That my mom would come in and she would do free hot dog nights with the kids. She would come in and do free popcorn for the kids. She always, even if she couldn't be there, she was help supporting it. And things went on further. We started doing stuff with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and I always have supported the community. Moving on to like 2010, I get this call from Walter Day, and he's on the phone, he's telling me like, yeah, this is Walter Day. I'm like, yeah, I recognize your voice. And he's like, I want you to come up to Iowa to the Video Game Hall of Fame and honor Pac-Man's 30th birthday. And it just started my wheels turning, like, how can we do this? And Walter and I talked, and we had managed to accumulate over 1,000 birthday cards for Pac-Man before we got to the Hall of Fame. We brought every Pac-Man machine, and then we also came out here for the Twin Galaxies 30th anniversary, Grassroots Gaming. So we've been a part of what's going on here at the Video Game Hall of Fame. As Walter said, we're part of the Midwest Gaming Classic. I've been doing that since 2007. And that's about giving back to your community. It's not about making money for us, because man, we lose money and sleep for that week. But it's about giving back to your community. And Walter has been instrumental in kind of guiding me in that direction. That he actually once told me, it's your job, it's your mission to actually go out there and represent it. And I'm like, okay, but I knew what he meant. I'm like, I can't control everything, but I can do my part. And we've gone on to do amazing events at the arcade with Walter and I bringing people in. My favorite one was pinball legend Steve Kordak had passed away, in my own industry, didn't recognize this guy's spirit of what he had put into, I think, 60-some years into the industry, maybe or more. So we had an old-fashioned neighborhood arcade barbecue and invited his family and honored his family. It was probably one of the hardest speeches I've ever given because I had a man's legacy in my hands, and his granddaughter actually cried and almost fell apart, but it was good tears. And I realized that more and more as I have done these things, it's not just about me. To do these events, you need a team of people. So it's, as Walter was always telling me, become a leader, become a leader. And I did eventually figure out what he was saying, because to be a great leader, you have to have people follow you and follow your example, and you're creating other leaders under you. And especially when you put on a big event, especially like this one, it's amazing. There's so many leaders that had to take the initiative to put all this together. So I think Walter for teaching me that. And the last event that I actually did was, it's called Gamer Grace, and that was actually, they hired me to come in because they saw my expertise. And it was, I loved it because it was bringing handicapped people together, people with autism, with gaming, and they had speakers and whatever. We did the arcade stuff, but what was amazing is meeting so many people with great attitudes. My family, my friends, and my customers came up to support us and the event. And to me, I realized it was an awesome feeling to be a leader where people actually want to support you in what you're doing. I guess in closing, like I say, is ironically, this is really cool to get my award in a mall, because I probably spent, before I opened the arcade, I spent more time as a kid in the mall at the arcade. So it was kind of interesting to actually get the award. And I'm taking this home for Star Wars. So thank you, Team Star Wars, for all your help.
Something to give Patrick to take home. He won't be the only one. What Jerry describes as swag bags. Basically, it's the community here reaching out, giving what they can, supporting what we do. It's put together really by Kim and Tara, only one of which I see here that I can embarrass. Go like this. All right. But it's so kind, they went out, and again, they solicit the community, and they do their own time, their own effort. And in here, there's just a bunch of memories for you to take with you. And again, in appreciation, thank you, sir.
Can we skip this one? There are different halls of fame out there right now that are trying to focus on the video game and esports industry. But the one that's special, the thing that this Hall of Fame is most special about is that not only did it originate, the first Hall of Fame to originate the idea of honoring the video game players, because Billy and I had experience for years that when we'd be involved in the industry, it's all about the designers and the games and the manufacturers. And no one was interested in the gamers, the players. And so the Hall of Fame, the International Video Game Hall of Fame, specifically, especially with that first year, we inducted a lot of people who were actually high score champions and legendary gamers, because we wanted the Hall of Fame to be about gamers. And that is a growing tradition, and that's why we have these different categories, 1990s gamer, 2000 gamers, and we are proud to tell you that Isaiah Triforce Johnson was selected by the voters for the International Video Game Hall of Fame class in 2016, 2000 esports competitor, which essentially is like the year 2000 to 2010. Triforce, could you please come up here?
So much of what Triforce did is unique. It's unique, or he was the first one to do it. When I heard of Empire Arcadia, it was the first time I had learned people gather like that. They usually have a house, like a palace, and they're in there playing hardcore gaming. And I thought, those guys are beyond the pale. But the fact of the matter is, I watched and I saw where it led. Again, he was the founder of the esports team. Again, the world record of 2,000 team victories for the Empire. Okay, he retired as a pro gamer. He put gaming or competitive gaming behind him as a player in order to push the industry, push the hobby, push it in the right direction, and very much preserve the history of it as well. More than anybody, probably more than me or Walter, he's really dedicated to history and history being preserved. Anyway, he was always known. People in New York knew him. When Nintendo was releasing a game, and it was going to be released on Friday, you could almost go there on Monday, 5 days before, and he's the guy sleeping outside with a sleeping bag. He was going to get the very first copy. I'm exaggerating a little, but only a little.
Yeah.
They also knew him as the guy with the power glove. And the fact of the matter is, he has 30 world records on the Twin Galaxies scoreboard, 8 Guinness World Records in gaming, and he continues esports, not just here, but all over the world. It is not total. There's some other people that are going to be sympathetic to me when he's called and he's had a problem and he needs a little help. Sure, where are you? I'm in France. I'm in Guyana. Can you help me? No, I can't help you. Give me a break. I mean, if you're in Miami, I can help you. But again, it just shows you how hard he works and the people who work with him who don't get any credit. The people on his team who don't get any credit, he takes all the credit. And the fact of the matter is, he does do an awful lot. He reaches out. There's nothing that intimidates him more than anybody, including me. You don't even count. More than anybody, including me, he advocates for the importance, the right, and the position that players have in the industry. He lobbies hard, companies, organizations, that the players that they want to bring in order to push or promote a convention, those players have to be appreciated, they have to be paid, they have expenses. He does that more than anybody, including me. He really holds their feet to the fire. He's an advocate for everybody in this room and everything that we all stand for. So, I always pick on him and tell him the picture I like best is the one in the bottom in the middle because I can't see his face. But that's just friends joking. Anyway, again, Triforce, Isaiah Triforce Johnson. And as I sit here, I really appreciate him and I hope you do too.
Just one interesting little thing I want to add is that almost more than anybody, Triforce recognized immediately the incredible spirit of Ottumwa being the video game capital of the world and the birthplace of organized competitive esports, and he's almost the biggest promoter of Ottumwa being, the video game capital of the world and the birthplace of organized esports. So it's incredible that we have a friend and supporter in Triforce Johnson as we induct him into the International Video Game Hall of Fame class in 2016, 2000 esports competitor.
Thank you, everybody. This is a long time coming. I didn't write a speech. I'm actually here to talk to everybody. And the first thing I want to do is give thanks. It is always right to give thanks and praise. I am not a religious guy, but nothing can be done without God, so we thank God first. The second person I would like to thank is my mother, who has passed away in 2012. I was in LA with Walter, receiving an award from Nintendo for being the person who stood the line for the most Nintendo launches. And my phone was ringing while I was actually receiving the award, and this is actually on YouTube. And Walter, a representative of Guinness, and the president of Nintendo of America, Reggie Fils-Aimé, was honoring me with that award from Guinness. After the award, I found out it was my brother calling me. And so I went back to my hotel room, and as I was being awarded by Nintendo and Walter and Reggie, I received news back my mother passed away. So as something good happens and something's bad, what's that line? As the pendulum swings in favor of one, it swings back in favor of its opposite. My family, my entire lineage comes from a very humble means and backgrounds. We are from Jamaica originally. We are from Africa. That is where our descent is. And I always remind people that I am African, from a family in Jamaica, but raised in the United States of America. And despite America's problems here and there, it's still the greatest country on earth. With that said, I would like to move forward with that, and I would like to thank the rest of my family. My father, who is in New York with muscular dystrophy, so he's almost immobile. My aunt, who told me that my mother's last words was that she was proud that I was in the Guinness Book of World Records, and that she would want me to one day come back home to Jamaica and represent Jamaica, in which I did. So in 2012, I went back to Jamaica. I brought my team there to help bring Jamaica up in esports. Help them solidify their space in esports, because they had a community, just like you guys, that played video games, but no platform to push it. And I went there, and it was in Jamaica that I won my 2000th tournament for my team, which then got our team recognized in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most documented tournament-winning video game team on planet Earth. I also made my mother proud by getting 8 Guinness World Records, 30 Twin Galaxies World Records, and hundreds of tournaments, over 100+ tournaments that I've won. I bring this up because it's not about me tooting my own horn and what I've done, but to show the dedication that I have for the people that I love and those around me. So that's my family out of the way. The next set of people I want to thank is my other family, Empire Arcadia. I could not be here. It is impossible, literally impossible, for me to be here if not for the first 2 dynasties that helped me get to this position. I would not have had the platform to be recognized, much like Walter. It took Billy, it took the whole Life magazine crew of gamers and all the supporters in Ottumwa, the people from the Ottumwa committee who grew up and helped him build his arcade, for Walter to be able to get his vision realized to today. So I want to give a special thanks to my entire team, members of Empire Arcadia, both now and former, for helping me to reach the levels that I've reached with my team and to get me to this point. Now that I'm at this point, I've retired from competitive gaming. I now can play video games freely, just for fun, no more competitions. I don't have to prove anything to anybody, and this ends this chapter of my life. With that said, let me go into the final segments of this. I'm done here with competitive gaming in terms of playing it to prove anything. But a new game starts for me. And after this Hall of Fame, I now don this suit. The gamers need someone to represent them in this multi-billion-dollar industry that naturally builds a machine that takes advantage of gamers worldwide, because they will not create a platform for gamers to be able to get their shot at stardom and greatness. They will not help the people who put down the infrastructure, the mud, the wood, the bricks, the cornerstones, like Walter. They're going to forget you because it's a machine. But this industry, none of the video game companies, none of the video game esports industries could be anything without us, the gamers. It is impossible. We're the ones who buy the games, we're the ones who play the games, we're the ones who promote the games, we're the ones who add the context to the content. So without us, there won't be any industry. And my job now, at this point, is to make sure that I represent the history, which is Ottumwa, Iowa, the actual one and true only video game capital of the world, undisputed, and to bring the outside world in and to raise Ottumwa up as the Mecca, the Madison Square Garden. You guys need a dome by the Bridgeview Center in the next 2 or 3 years. I'm serious, I'm gonna work on that. And bring the world here so that they can meet, this is for us younger generations, the elder gods. That's what we call them, guys like Walter. Because these guys are the first gods. You see, we have a god down here, and we have an injustice god over there, and but like Walter and Billy, these are the elder gods. So my job is to actually bring the world so that they become educated about these guys and help make Ottumwa great again. And with that, I want to thank everybody for supporting Ottumwa, Iowa, and giving me this great honor of being put into the International Video Game Hall of Fame. Finally, yes, one more. There's an ending to this. I would like to give my greatest thanks to the elder god himself, Walter Day. Small story. My team could have not been made if not for what you guys did 36 years ago. It is 36 years ago, right? 36. I caught that later end of That's Incredible when Ben Gold came racing through the tape. Yeah. And he won the championship. Guys like Steve Harris, who wrote EGM, would tell tales in the early editions of EGM about all the greatness of these championship gamers. The Nintendo World Championships held in Florida at the Epcot Center. And I was like, man. Yeah, Walter Billy tells me those stories. So I was like, I want to grow up one day and be like these guys, and I want to be great at video games. And that stuck with me. I wrote an article about Walter in 2001 and posted it on my website in 2002 as the pioneers of esports, which Walter read, and I didn't know until I met him in 2008. He was like, "You're Triforce Johnson," and I'm like, "How do you know who I am?" He's like, "You wrote an article about me in 2002 about what we've done in Ottumwa, Iowa." And if not for Walter, if not for Billy, Ben, Todd Walker, Mayor Jerry Parker, Ottumwa, I would have never been inspired to make my team. So it's thanks to you guys, Empire Arcade exists, and thanks to Walter. Thank you very much.
Again, from Ottumwa Video Game Capital World, your bag of tricks.
I bought a bunch of swag already.
Yeah, I know we got the money. Also thanking the Ottumwa Chamber of Commerce, Southside Drugs, Eyes and Ears, Indian Hills Community College, John Deere, Ottumwa Economical Development, Ottumwa Regional Health Center, and Pizza Hut, all of which local people here have contributed to this. So I try not to say it at the end when everybody's walking away. Next, coming up to introduce somebody is somebody who should not need any introduction. It's really cool in the industry when somebody does something so good, the different people we've honored here, because it inspires people to want to do that well. A lot of what Triforce was talking about. Well, the guy we simply call Doc here, he created an arcade in Illinois, something that so many people were intimidated to do in the industry in the state. And he said, no, we can do this and we can be successful. Not only is he successful, but he is, or he's on the verge of being the largest arcade in the world, the most games in the world, in Illinois. And again, the spirit that he brings to it, other people see. and they say, oh, I want to open a place like that. Oh, I want to open a place like that. When you go in there, it's not a place where you go and you give your money and you play your games. There's spirit, there's support, there's a community, there's camaraderie behind it. So it's only fitting that Doc Mack steps up here to introduce the next person. So, but in the meantime, we'll introduce Doc Mack.
Hey everybody. At the arcade, we see so many people that are passionate about video games. Some are passionate about competing, some are passionate about designing games. We have industry people that come in, they've made some of the greatest games that have stood the test of time. We get players that are incredibly passionate about scoring and setting world records, and people literally travel in from all over the world. Usually, the people that come in, their focus is just on one of these elements. And there's very few people that come into the arcade that transcend all of those criteria of what they're looking to do. And we want to bring up Chris Tang. Chris Tang, I was fortunate enough to meet Chris when we got Primal Rage 2, which was a game that he had worked on that had been canceled. And we resurrected it, and it was so unfortunate that that game was canceled because it was a really great game. Chris has done so much as far as in the competitive world. He has won the Rock the Rock, the Sega Championships, the Nintendo Championships, countless Street Fighter Championships. He is an amazing competitor. He's an amazing game creator, and an amazing, even before he came here this weekend, he was setting new world records over at the Galloping Ghost Arcade. I think you said 2, which is just, the players that he's going up against are just incredible. There's people that focus on these games, they have access to them 7 days a week, and Chris can just come in and put up 2 new world records in such a short amount of time. It's just absolutely amazing, and he is, again, one of the few people that transcend all of it. He's in the cosplaying, which he's also won numerous contests and titles for that. And he is just one of the most incredible and amazing people that I've ever met in this industry. And he is fully deserving to be inducted into the International Video Game Hall of Fame. And there's so much more to him, and we can't wait to see what comes from the future. He's still designing games even to this day. And it is an honor to be able to present you with your 2016 International Video Game Hall of Fame Award. So congratulations, Chris.
Thank you so much, Doc. It's a real honor to be presented by someone who himself has done so much for games and the history of video gaming. And on that, I've got kind of a long speech. Sorry for the length. It's got a lot of stuff, but I'll try to get it over with quickly. We all started off in life as a blank, empty slate. Some of us find our way early on as children, but some, I'd hate to say it, but myself did not. I won't get into details, but I found no joy or reason to exist in my earliest years, and it was a painful way to live. Until I discovered that video games were my calling. Concepts like high scores quantified my growth and worth. The sad and empty being that I was began to transform, and through games, I was able to find confidence, self-respect, and maybe even talent. As cliche as it may sound, I truly believe that if it were not for video games, I would not be alive today. What started as a momentary diversion was just the beginning. Even when I was too young and inexperienced to become a champion yet, I was unknowingly studying for what I would be doing later in life. I read every magazine and book on video games I could find, learning how to play them, about their history, and how arcade and console businesses worked. Most importantly, I read about the early contests, events, and scores as they were happening. The Twin Galaxies arcade and scoreboard, Ottumwa, the video game capital of the world, and Tivik Day. Taking a break from that, I would draw pictures of arcade game cabinets and game designs from my imagination with my crayons. I began to have heroes I could call my own, particularly names like Eric Jenner, who's also a Hall of Famer, Tad Perry, and Kent Hudson, who authored many of the books I studied. I read about the U.S. national video game team, which Walter Day helped create, and wondered, would I ever be able to join them, or be like them someday? I saw that that's incredible competition, like Triforce, events on TV, and watched tons of the game show Starcade with Jeff Edwards, excitedly jumping up and down, wishing more than anything I could be the one playing the games and making those scores and winning those contests. I didn't know it then, but my time would come, but later. When amazing feats and triumphs are put on display, it's only natural to want to strive to achieve more. And that's why this place, Ottumwa, the things that happened here, and what's being done to preserve this history matters so much to me, and why I'm here today. A place that recognized the importance of something like a high score record or a competition win, making that real, allowed myself and so many others to become inspired by it. Video game arcades across the world then became more than just rooms full of games. They became magical places where kids like me could build themselves and reach limitless potential, and I feel that my life since has been proof of that. The competitive spirit created a high standard for my gameplay, my discipline, determination, and perhaps everything that I did. The results from my first competition, the Hawaii State Nintendo Championships in 1989, were perhaps dominant and overkill only because I had held myself to the standard of the legends that I had studied about here. I went on to win many competitions on Street Fighter II, Mortal Kombat, Super Mario Bros., Tetris, reaching the pinnacle with my win at the Sonic & Knuckles Rock the Rock Sega World Championships, which was broadcast around the world on MTV, had a $25,000 prize, and was the most ambitious esports event ever held when it happened in 1994, and there's never been anything like it since. Going back a bit from that, in 1990 at the Nintendo World Championships, I had the very good fortune to meet someone who had a huge influence on my life as one of the best positive role models anyone could ask for. He is also world record holder, or was, on pole position 2, and part of the history that happened here is by Klug, who's over there. I marveled at his connections. to the history that I studied, and the shocking revelation that he worked at Atari Games in Tengen. So he gave me a shot and a chance, and I began working there too. And that was the start that I had in the game industry at an early age. So I might not have been here in Ottumwa during its most historic era, but Mike Klug, he was, and was also inspired to compete. And you could say that all these things connect together, because by enabling a person to give them a shot to do their very best, they might be able to give the chance and the shot to someone else, and I believe that's what happened here. And I was able to fulfill a life-encompassing dream of creating games. So with that in mind, I've always felt a deep need to devote myself to and give back to video games in a positive way. And when I got wind that I was nominated, I didn't really think I was ready yet. I didn't feel like I made enough games that people loved and inspired enough people, but somehow, here I am, I finally made it, and I couldn't be prouder to be on a stage like this. Over at Portland Retro Gaming Expo a couple of weeks ago, Koji Nishio, or Korian, Tetris Grandmaster champion from Japan, came up to me with a Sonic & Knuckles cartridge, Japanese version, and had me sign it, and I found out that he had actually seen my competition win in Japan over 20 years ago. And a similar story happened with the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater champion the next day, where they told me that they had seen me back in '94, and it got me thinking, maybe I was inspiring people all this time, and I just didn't even know it. And sometimes you don't even know that you're inspiring other people, but if you do your very best, maybe you might. And I saw people playing my game on demo at that same show, having fun with it, playing it with their parents and their friends and their rivals, and there's never a better feeling than that. So when I think of things like that, when I think of like millions of people watching me commentate Tetris online and then echoing my meme, which is really funny, it's boom, Tetris for Jeff. And you might have seen me wearing the t-shirt earlier, but it's pretty funny stuff, but a lot of people have seen that, and when I think of touching people through the art of video games, then I feel that maybe, just maybe, it's okay for me to be here on this stage that Walter and the city of Ottumwa has so graciously provided me with. But I would not be here without so many people that have supported me on the journey, and I want to thank them now. So I want to first thank my mom and dad, Gwen and Milton, for giving me my first ColecoVision, Atari, Nintendo, and Sega systems, eventually approving of my gaming obsession and driving me around to compete in those first tournaments. Because that was the thing, back in the day, you drove around on these tours. My older brother Arnold for giving me the gaming computer magazines. My little brother, also a gaming champion, who was a real Sonic the Hedgehog master of the family and was invaluable to my training. From my days at Atari and Tengen, those who gave me a shot to be a game designer, Bill Hindorf, Dennis Harper, and especially Mike Klug, thank you. To Hank and Eddie Rogers, thank you for making me feel so welcome in the Tetris family and for fixing my busted foot. It's a long story, it's pretty funny. To showrunners Vel Walker, Greg Fennell, Adam Cornelius, Vince Clement, Chuck Van Pelt, and John Lester, your faith in me provided me valuable opportunities to share experiences in gaming history and to get better for times like this when I need to speak to people, and that was great. To fellow city champion Robin Mahara and fellow Hall of Fame inductee Thor Ackerlitz, who was one of last year's inductees. My very first competitive rivals, who have since become the dearest lifelong friends. I love you guys. So whenever you compete, you might make friends and rivals that will be with you for the rest of your life. Never forget that. Other good friends on the journey: Marissa Hirakawa, Jeff Yonan, Joe Willis, Alex and Mance Ovid, the staff and Friends of Digital Savior, David and Daniel Proctor, Jim Hassan, Louis Stokes, Nikki Costa. The fun we had will never be forgotten. My fellow game development leads, Eric Suzuki and Kiyoshi Akuma, longtime friends, thank you for helping me continue realizing the dream of making games players will love. Most importantly, I need to thank those who carry the legacy and give our stories and experiences a home. Those like Doc Mack and the Galloping Ghost Arcade. The city of Ottumwa and the people who make the International Video Game Hall of Fame and Museum possible, and of course, Walter Day. Thank you for preserving, furthering, and celebrating the history of video games and the people involved. The world needs more of this, and I cannot put into words how grateful I am for your efforts over the years. Video games are a wonderful thing that can make the world a better place, instilling confidence, bringing people together, and bestowing joy upon those who play them. It's a powerful responsibility for us as champions, creators, and protectors of gaming history to do our very best for the next generation of players who may find it their calling in life as I have. Let us continue the cycle of inspiration, competitive esports excellence, and empowerment into the future. So in closing, give others a shot. Cheer everyone around you to do their very best and make the highest score possible. Make all of your games fun and run at 60 frames per second. And always challenge your rivals with love and respect. I love you all, and thank you. Boom, Tetris for Jeff.
You heard Doc talk about the respect he has for them, and you heard me say earlier how the people we see, they inspire the spirit that we all look for, strive for, and hope for. That's a heck of a good example. You gonna be able to sleep okay tonight? Hope so. All right, congratulations. Again,
Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Doc, and thank you, Walter.
Again, the spirit of Ottumwa and things that need to be said, they can't be left out. Vaughn's Automotive, they know that we had people flying in. As you know, you don't fly into Ottumwa. And everyone in Ottumwa keeps saying, yeah, but next year we're going to get an airline. So, Miss Mary wants to take credit for that. But the fact of the matter is, Vaughn Automotive made it possible that a good new vehicle, roomy, was loaned to us. We were able to pick anybody up at the airport who needed a ride. We'll be able to bring them back as well. And as I look over at the sign there, I didn't want to lose the opportunity to make sure we recognize that and we thank them. The other one is Dr. Pepper and Snapple. From the very beginning, absolute sponsorship. For example, they donated everything here. Everything is flat out donated. The money that's collected, 100% of it here on Veterans Day weekend, 100% goes to the wounded warriors. It's the spirit that's here. Seems like it's going to be hard for that spirit to ever die for any reason. Next. I always pick on the guys who are in that Life magazine photo because I say they went home. And there was one guy who went home, but he keeps coming back, and he does. He comes back and he supports every way and every opportunity he can, not only here, but whenever we're in his area. A great guy at the time, and certainly a great guy now, and certainly a guy who's qualified for the next introduction. Again, Mark Robachek, all the way from California.
Thank you, Billy. And first person I want to thank is Triforce, because of my lifelong list of titles, job titles, from systems engineer to quality manager to Casino Party Dealer, I think my favorite title now is my newest one, which is Elder God. So thank you, Triforce. But as an Elder God, I get the privilege of introducing someone who in many ways reminds me of me, which is kind of interesting. So I know there were certain video game players out there who are really good at a lot of games, like my friend Eric Jenner, Todd Walker. There were also some people like me who are very good at just a few games. I kind of focused on just a few, like Frogger. And now we have Lonnie McDonald. And the interesting stat about him is he's really known for focusing on one game, that being Joust. And I know the statistic says that he actually had 100 machines. I know he's past 150 now, of turning 10 million on that many machines. And so, yeah, he's the first person to ever record a score over 935. And you can see he's now a current US member of the National Video Game Team. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Hall of Fame inductee for the class of 2016, Lonnie McDonald.
Down to midget level. So I did prepare a little note here, but I thought it was interesting. I'd let you guys know that my mom and my wife. Oh, there she is. There she is. Wife has made it here, and my mom is over here too. And that's the reason I'm so short, is my mom is so short. Yeah. But my speech is like 2 hours long, and they let it last. No, I'm just kidding. So really, I'm humbled to be here and included in the International Video Game Hall of Fame as an inductee. I grew up in Iowa, so not that far from here. I'm actually from Winterset, and so being inducted in a Hall of Fame is actually in Iowa. It's kind of an extra honor. My family was pretty competitive in cards and pool, and so we learned to be competitive from an early age, playing just about everything. Losing was not an option. There are several people I'd like to acknowledge and thank. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to do the things that I've done. One, my wife, for continued love and support. Steve Sanders is to blame for the current Joust obsessive-compulsive mess that I'm on, because he encouraged me to pick up the game and play it again. And you guys all know who Steve is, right? Okay. So next time you see him, you can blame him. John Newcomer and the development team of Joust for such a timeless video game. The International Video Game Hall of Fame for being involved, and the people involved for nomination and the induction. And Jerry and the team that put on the event here. It's so nice to have an arcade in here and be able to play stuff. I actually was fortunate to play the 175th Joust machine to 10 million points here at this event. So that was pretty fun. We did it yesterday, not today, so if you were looking for it today, I couldn't be at the card signing at the same time. Kind of some fun highlights. There's probably a big long list someplace, but I think they pared it down. Having the Joust, Walter was involved in this one, having the Joust development team plus Steve Sanders and Mark Hoff and Walter at Harry Carey's in Chicago prior to the 100th rollover at the Williams building where they were made. It was kind of a synergistic circle for us both back to the 80s when I was the first person to play 24 hours, and he got inspiration from Williams to push the scoreboard even further. Then beating John Newcomer, the developer of Joust, head-to-head in a cutthroat tournament. Calling the icons like Newcomer and Python Angelo, the artist, and Walter Day friends. Beating people like Billy and Mark and all the 80s elder gods. So I'll put that in there. I was going to use older gods, but I'm older than most of them, so I couldn't use that one. Playing, if you guys remember, at the 30th anniversary, I actually was here and played a J-Rod world record on the 30th anniversary of Joust at the original Twin Galaxies building, the first person who had played in it since the mid-80s. So that was kind of cool. I managed to almost pass out while I was there from the heat in the window, but that was another story. Traveling to all 50 states and playing joust and seeing others, passion for video games and pinball. Playing side by side with Steve Sanders for 15 hours. So you gotta, you know, Steve Sanders has to be a nice guy if you'll touch him for 15 hours, because you can't play joust not touching each other.
Okay.
Inspiring others to pursue unique greatness that sets them apart is iconic. I already mentioned playing the 175th machine here to honor the Hall of Fame. I continue to support the Hall of Fame and Ottumwa as a video game capital of the world. And I have one parting thought, is to set your goals in life so high that as you strive to achieve them, you inspire others to greatness through the examples that you set. So you all can do that.
One thing I don't know if we mentioned or if anybody said, but it's kind of unique. Lonnie's happens to be a hometown boy. He's born here in Iowa, so that's another plug for him. Again, the most valuable thing here: blood, sweat, and tears. Put that together. Thanks always. Again, thinking of more people in the community. When we did the photograph down on Main Street, most of us went into the Polar Express. Again, just a small business here, doing anything and everything they can, simply to support the event. You know, that's the spirit. You know, that's awesome. The Owl's Nest, which is a place here in town, which is likely a place that many of us are going to go afterwards. Then there's Professional Computer Solutions. Again, every one of these, they're local here in town. Okay, and it's kind of ironic that everybody locally supported things. That's the way things began until they grow on a national level. Quantum Custom Laser, again, a local company, and I don't want everyone to walk away without us saying how much we appreciate what they did and all. Almost all of that, well, there's always the guy at the top that gets all the credit. Well, here, the guy at the top, who will get all the credit, he doesn't deserve it. He's got an army behind him, and I'll call him up now, is Jerry Byron. Mike, Sam, and Mark. Well, we had 3 extra bags, and what were we going to do with them? So we had to figure things out. First of all,
We call that winging it.
winging it with hot sauce. Well, Sam, where did Mark go? Oh. Sam, again, originally from Life Magazine, made the arduous journey here. Okay, he's an easy one. Mark, originally from Life Magazine, made that journey here as well. Jerry says, well, you did too. You get the 3rd bag. I don't want anything. I got too much silly stuff. I want to give it to someone else. Well, I keep picking on Mike. I'm here to embarrass him because he made the journey here. He wasn't here in 1982 for that photo, but he was here afterwards, and he's supportive. So, being a little political, I've been calling him the undocumented gamer because he's from California. All the political humor that goes behind that. But I just wanted to thank them in particular for coming here. And every year we hope to have more and more and more, like Walter says. He has a goal of having all 15 of them here, sooner or later, or eventually. Because that's where it began. That was the blood, sweat, and tears. And never could we have imagined at that time that it would lead to what we have here. The absolute amount of hard work that was in front of us. I always say, we just ran and ran and ran forward. We didn't always know where we were running. We just knew we would never achieve anything standing still. And somehow, eventually, we began to gain a compass and gain direction and realize what it was that may or may not work. And we didn't have the answers and we didn't have the foundation when suddenly things started to form in Ottumwa. A surprise to us, even a doubt of ours. It just began to form on its own, and the foundation began to form, and a community effort began to come together that would make something like this possible. because it's something that outside of Ottumwa, people like me could never make happen, ever, under any circumstance. It has to be people here locally, people who are willing, as Walter says, to pick up the baton and run with it, because it's here and it's available to them. Nobody on the outside could make this happen. This belongs to Ottumwa. You could say it was a gift to Ottumwa, but today and forever, Ottumwa owns it, and nobody can take that from them. In this group, the Ottumwa Video Game Capital of the World, who has taken this on, again, we'll have Jerry speak, but he speaks on behalf of a lot of people and even the entire community. So that's Jerry Byron.
Hold on. I've been watching these guys struggle with this mic all night. So, with that, first and foremost, I need to tell you that, Bill puts me at the top, and that's not true at all. As a matter of fact, I was not even on this committee. There were other guys starting this movement before I got on it. I just happened to be working in the background to try to open an arcade here. Actually, and we're going on 2.5 years on trying to get that done. But great things don't come quickly. I really need to bring this committee at least on their feet, because these guys, I'm just the pushy SOB behind them, trying to push them, and as Pat said, take some leadership, and I have some great people and great leaders on this committee. So Michael, Julie, Marcus, Jenny, Dennis, Mr. Bertlow, Terry, Bill. You guys absolutely killed it. Everything we have done has been on the backs of these folks. These guys are the workhorse behind everything we've done in the past year. Without them, none of this would have happened. So I want to give a big thanks personally to all of you. You kick ass. Now, part of this committee, it's multiple folds. First off, like what Billy said earlier, we were just going to come together and have a lunch. I think maybe Tim started that movement. Let's just have lunch and talk about the past and maybe eat a canteen or two. Anyone familiar with that? If you're not local here, you're missing out. So I said, let's do something better than that. Let's put an arcade up and let's have a celebration. 35 years. 35 years from what this guy started. It meant a lot to me. The future of this means a lot to me. We are here to preserve the legacy of what happened in Ottumwa, Iowa, and all of you folks are involved. All of you folks helped. I want to see you back, each and every one of you. Each and every one of you are a part of this. Without you, without the sponsors, without these folks and the legacy that was created in 1981, we could not do it without you. So to you, I say thank you. Thank you. Now, a few things, and I'm going to hustle out of here. I don't like to talk much, I just don't. So, Lonnie came and he sent 175 in the arcade. Thank you for that. The story behind that is 175 was bound for the fire pit. Literally, a week ago, that was in my garage, a gutted mess. There was nothing in it, not a single wire. It was a cabinet ready to be burned. I got it from the guy who was ready to light the match. I said, no. We're going to preserve that like we do our legacy. Lonnie came in, played 175 on something bound for the fire pit. That's pretty amazing. So, Triforce, you know, you say that you're done gaming. You're not done gaming. You're moving, as you said. You are an ambassador now. Billy, Walter, we're all ambassadors. You are there with us. Todd came all the way from Florida. There's a lot of, let's just say, some news out there that really is not favorable to Todd and his history and his legacy. But we stand behind you because we believe in you. And thank you for being here and coming all this way. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Some of the guys that Triforce brought, the new guys, the new generation, you guys, you may not realize it today, but in 30 years, when you're our age, you're going to look back at this and you're going to say, I'm glad I was a part of that. However, you're going to be in something bigger by then. This is going to be so huge. So live it and build it today for the generation behind you. This is yours, right? The young gamers that we've been supporting and putting on tournaments for all year long, the Youth League, all of the players in the Adult League, these are the guys that are filling the gaps behind us. You know, you hear all the time when you're working in when you're a manager or you're a boss, you need to find people to fill behind you so that you can move up. This generation is brand new. They're coming up behind us. We need to support them and push them and bring them on and allow them to play because, again, this is their legacy. This will be them in 30, 35 years. The legacy, again, you know, I want to say something else and then I'm going to be done. I remember back in the time, and Mayor Parker touched on this a little bit, and we've had discussions before, and when you think back, what does this mean to you? Why do you do this? I remember when I was little, I would go to the arcade and I would get grounded. It was not a place where parents wanted their kids to be. It was bad. You were bad in the community, your friends looked down upon you, your parents didn't want to know you were there, you were grounded. But look at today. The evolution of gaming today is that I take my kids there and they will take their kids there. It's a family environment. You walk into Star Worlds in DeKalb, Illinois, and because of what Patrick has done and has earned him into the Hall of Fame is very much, he has seen this evolution for 35 years. It's 35, Patrick, right? 33? 33 years he has watched this evolution. This is the young people, again, the youth, this is theirs. We are a family environment, it's a friendly environment, and gaming is great. It is no longer the bad thing that we were brought up in. So let's relish it, love it, and live it, and thank you all for being here. We have one more, is it right? One more to give, right? So, to the last but not least, Walter, thank you. Oh, you're right. My bad. Not one more to give. I was just excited. Walter, take it over.
He's a cheapskate. He doesn't want to give away anymore.
Well, Jerry has wrapped it up so nicely that there's not much more to say. This is your class of 2016 for the International Video Game Hall of Fame. On behalf of Billy, myself, and Mary Gaskell down there, who are board members, we thank you for coming, and we want all 4 of the present recipients with their awards to come up here for that official group picture. And then we would like to do an official group picture of everybody, because that's a tradition here in Ottumwa. Everybody's going to be in the group photograph. So after we do them, we're going to get, should it be up here on the stage? Everybody gets right up here on the stage for a group photograph. And then essentially, Billy and I will be free to go have our reward, which is a big bag of popcorn. Okay? So, okay, get all the award, get all the recipients right here with their awards. What you holding? Yep. We're going to go by what Jerry says. So where should we go, Jerry? Okay, we're going to go in front of the museum spot after we photograph the 4 guys here.
I'll turn it off. I'll turn it off.
Okay. Who's got the good camera to do this? I mean, there's a lot of cameras out here, but essentially, now the International Video Game Hall of Fame is going through processes. There is a ballot that's being developed so that you can vote for the inductees for the class of 2017. Come to our website, ivghuf.com, watch the process, participate in the process, help us select the members who will be inducted into the 2017 class. The actual date of presenting the inductees is still being refined and figured out, but essentially we've got a closure on this. This is good. We have our inductees for the class of 2016, and here they are.
Yeah, I turned off the screen. Yeah.
Of course, those people up there going to be took them away from us. There.
That's much better.
Hey, the battery's dead. I'll take one and email it to you.
Nice.
5, 4,
Thumb cramp, Billy.
3, 2, 1.
Boom.
You're fine.
I would have thought so. Someone had
Phone's gonna go dead because I've been recording the whole freaking thing. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.